Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go ahead and just get right into it this week because it's been a little hectic. There's been a little moving and shaking of the schedule, which we'll get into in a bit. But as always, it is episode 11 of Longtime Watcher, First Time Rider. As always, I am your longtime watcher, King Fats the 95th, and I am joined as always by my wonderful, wonderful first time riders, Action Shakespeare.
It's always episode 11 here on Longtime Watcher, First Time Rider.
Okay. I didn't realize that. B drops.
Hello.
And the magical Will Gopher.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for joining us as always. It's been a little bit of a hectic kind of recording setup attempt. We are now day number 3 into attempting to record this episode, as it were. I would like to extend my apologies both to everyone here and everyone listening for that. But
and also our editor.
Yeah, and also our
Sorry, Woods.
Sorry, Woodsy. But Woodsy is also kind of part of the reason why we were having this issues is because he was so kind as to help me with my recent move. So, as of what was our podcast upload date for previously the 11th of June, I am now in a new apartment, and I do want to actually spend some time to give some shout outs for that. I want to thank my brothers, both my actual brother Nick and my brother-in-law Joel, for helping me move along with our editor Woodsy, because he came out and he helped and he moved some furniture and slept some boxes. And so I just wanted to take a moment to say, like, hey, thanks a lot for doing that, because you didn't have to, but you did, and it made things a lot smoother. So everybody say thank you, please, to Words.
Thank you, Wordsy.
Thank you, please, to Words.
And congratulations once again on the move.
Thank you. Yeah. Hopefully once I can finally get this place, properly settled, it'll be, it'll be a good situation for me. And hopefully my audio is not as echoey as it sounds. At least in my ears.
I mean, it doesn't sound worse than... Well, let me rephrase that. It doesn't sound any worse than usual.
That's fair. We'll see. We'll see how the recording goes. If Wordsy starts giving me shit in a couple of days, that's how I'll know.
I'm curious on how my audio sounds because I've switched to a new mic, and hopefully there won't be any static like last time.
Also, fun new developments happening at the First Ride Pod, and not least among those fun new developments is the new episode of the Death Counter with B-Drops.
Well, here I am to tell you about all the people who will not be having any new developments ever again.
Jesus Christ. Whoa!
There sure are a lot of them this time around. Episode 24 has... Is everybody okay?
No! Keep going. That caught me off guard entirely. I was not expecting that to be the energy.
I love it.
Fuck, that was great. Okay, go ahead.
We got tons of kills, episode 24 and 25. Episode 24... Oh, I want to say this preemptively before we get in.
Go for it.
So, I had to revise a couple numbers that were in my notes as more information came out while watching this episode, as we now know that when Kinoko Mulg sprays someone, it does not kill them.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Which thus means Shocker did not get a single kill for episode 24 and 25.
Yeah, they didn't, huh? Unless the second part of the gas was supposed to kill people, but they weren't very explicit about that.
The reports weren't that anybody died so much as people were being left untreated in the streets. And presumably that system benefits their plan. They didn't want everyone to die immediately. They needed to spread their plague. Thankfully, for our heroes, they stopped it completely, which means literally no one was killed by Shocker. However, that does not mean there was no death whatsoever. Nope. Kamen Rider got 7 kills in episode 24.
Wow.
And we have a new runner in the miscellaneous kill category. We had Mari coming in, fencing once again, and she actually got some good slashes in. She added 3 kills to the miscellaneous count for episode 24.
All right, Mari. Let's go, Mari.
Yeah.
Get it.
That's
yeah.
like near 50% of the Kamen Rider. You've done good. My God.
Correct me if I'm wrong as well, but isn't that like the most miscellaneous kills there's ever been in one instance?
No, that would be when Tachibana blew up a base.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right, fair enough.
Yes.
Good point.
But it's not too far. Taking into account what happens in episode 25, she also got 2 more kills,
Nice.
giving her 5 under her belt alone. She's already beating Taki.
Damn, Taki,
Which-
get
which
with
is
it.
impressive.
Taki.
Step it up.
You suck.
Step it up, sincerely. And Kamen Rider got a lot of kills in episode 25. He got a total of 12 kills. So
Damn.
that leaves us with 19 for his total for both episodes.
Wow.
Kamen
which is-
Rider out
which
here
is a
doing work.
It's a huge leap for his numbers. We talked about it last episode, but now I can officially say that Hayato now has more kills than Hongo in the series.
Damn.
We're in a new era for Kamen Rider now.
Yeah.
I also would be loath not to mention that he is now at a total of 69 kills.
Nice!
Congratulations, Hayato.
He is at a total of 69 out of 121 kills for Team Kamen Rider.
Wow.
And with Mari's contributions, Miscellaneous is up to 17.
Good job, Miscellaneous.
All right.
Shocker's still lagging behind at 91 with no kills these past 2 episodes.
Like nerds.
Nerds, absolute foolish
Fucking
nerds.
dorks.
Absolute dorks.
So, completely on the side of the good guys, we've had 24 kills these past 2 episodes, leaving us with a total of 229 kills in the series thus far.
Wowzers, Bowsers. We are not even at episode 30 yet, and we almost have 230 kills.
Really excited. I wonder if we
Yeah.
can break 300 before episode 30, but I doubt it. But we'll see.
Given
Let's see what
given
crazy
the next
things
2
happen.
episodes' performance, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I was gonna
It's-
say I don't feel like we're gonna be picking up much in these next 2 episodes, but who knows? Maybe they'll go fucking buck wild in episodes 28 and 29.
I
If
hope
there's
they
one
do.
thing I feel has been consistent, it's the inconsistency. There seems to be
Yeah.
an ebb and flow.
Yeah, very much so.
Very much.
Well, thank you as always for that wonderful death count, B. I'd say there's now at this point nothing to it but to do it, huh, guys?
Yeah.
All right, so we are starting with whoop, 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 before I forget, do what little shit I have
I
to
don't
actually
remember that
do on this episode. All right, we are starting with episode 26. Hello, Bueller? Yes, 26.
Yes.
Okay, episode 26 of Kamen Rider, the Terrifying Antlion Pit, also known as the Terrifying Antlion, Kyofu no Arijigoku in Japanese. It originally aired September the 25th, 1971. Again, I got nothing on the Kamen Rider wiki. I have got a sentence, which is Colonel Zol arrives in Japan and wreaks havoc disguised as Kazuya.
I mean, that is what happened, at least.
It sure is.
Yes.
It's certainly what he tried to do.
That's something that happened.
There was definitely an attempt that was made.
This is jumping the gun just a tiny bit, but
Please jump that gun.
yeah, I love the first name of the Terrifying Antlion Pit because Damn was the cyborg, not terrifying.
Yeah, the antlion himself. Here's the interesting thing that I noticed looking here on the wiki. So in the actual episode, and I think this is concurrent with both the Verve viewing and when I watched it again on Shout Factory sped up to set up the synopsis. I believe they translate his name as like Antlithunder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they
something like
don't-
that.
Yeah, they don't use that for any of the versions of, right? You've got Terrifying Antlion Pit or just Terrifying Antlion, but there is no reference to Antlithunder.
Which is-
It's interesting. I wonder where that name came from.
I don't know. It's because
Maybe
he
the
tried to-
translators saw that all they were using was Antlion, and they were like, I gotta be able to beef this up somehow, right?
They don't really refer to him by name all that much in the episode.
Yeah. This is
Okay,
true.
actually, this doesn't really answer the question, but opening shot, first second is lightning, little lightning animation.
Right, because of the rain gimmick.
So maybe there's like there's supposed to be thunderstorms, or they implied that lightning is thunder.
Something like that, maybe.
As Pokemon
fair.
taught me.
Yeah, it's a stretch, but...
Speaking of the start of the episode, let's go ahead and get right on into that. So we start, as Gopher says, on a nice little animated lightning bolt, and then we go to a young couple who, I assume they're driving home. I don't know if it's ever actually explicitly said where they're driving, is it?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter where they're going.
No, it sure
No.
doesn't.
They're going one place. And that's
Yeah.
down.
Yep. So they are attempting to, we assume, drive home on what seems to be a stormy night when they notice that, it starts to rain, or so they think. But then they notice that the rain that is coming down is actually sand. The husband then notices that the car gets stuck in a sand pit, and he hops out and tries to push the car out so that way they can, get themselves dislodged. But not only is he unsuccessful, but soon the car begins to sink into the sand pit. And then, unfortunately, oh no, so does our couple sink into the sand pit. And then we get our first glimpse of our... I'm going to put bad guy for this episode in air quotes, because it is occurring to me, the more I think about it, that this dude is a side character in his own fucking episode.
Feels
Yeah.
really bad.
The ultimate jobber. I know we've said this by a few cyborgs at this point, but I think we have...
No, this guy is truly the basement for Shocker Kaijin, ability at this point.
And
Yeah.
given the name of the episode, localization aside, like you said, the actual title isn't named after him. It alludes to him and his ability, but it doesn't actually say the terrifying ant lion. It is about his pit.
It's about his stinky pits.
It's about his stinky pits.
The ant lion pit that Antlithunder, create with his giant...
Who?
Antlithunder, the man
Never
who's
heard
in
of
this episode? Yeah, neither.
Oh, nobody ever remembers Antlithunder.
I'm gonna remember...
Fucking for good reason, you dick.
There's a very memorable thing about the Antlithunder.
I mean,
Yes.
there are a couple of memorable things about Antlithunder. Here, before we
We're
get
saying
into
his
it,
name 500% more already
Yeah.
than it was said in the goddamn episode. Yeah.
Because he didn't matter in the episode.
Before we get into the dunk sesh, because I know that's where we're going, because he does reveal himself after these poor people are murdered. I feel like I want to give him his due justice, his due diligence. He does have a good outfit.
I was actually going to say that first.
Thank you for
Okay.
specifying outfit.
Yeah, no. I will admit that Antlithunder as an actual Shocker monster sucks.
Oh, he sure does. Look at him.
Damn.
Oh my lord!
I'm taking my leave. Goodbye.
All right, goodbye.
Everybody gets one.
Everybody gets one.
Everybody gets one.
Except for Fats. He gets as many as he'd like.
He's in charge, that's why.
I pay for them. It's like how you can pay $200 to get out of jail free in Monopoly. I've got a savings account just stored up.
Fair.
For the internet.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Anyway, the actual antlion or the actual Antlithunder costume is really good. It's got good colors. It's got great textures. It's just a very good visual experience from the neck down.
Yeah.
Please tell us about the neck up.
So the neck up has some interesting choices.
I wanna. How about you go outside in? Because I think the outer areas of the head are okay too.
Yeah, that too. The horns are nice. His little head pincers
Little
or whatever.
pincer, yeah.
Those look great. He's got kind of a hair. I wouldn't say he's got hair, but he's got this kind of fur that's covering his whole body, and it looks good. On this part of the body as well. It's real solid right up until you get to what I am now referring to as the Tiki Zone.
That's fair.
Because
I want to also point out, just a little bit more before the dunk session, there's, like, we've got some good ridges on the head. Like, they do a fantastic job at creating shape and contours within this face. In fact, a little bit too good as we get into the tiki zone.
I mean, there's really nothing
Very
else
distinct
to
contours.
call it.
Yeah.
Because this... I wanted to look up like a full body picture of him because there wasn't one on the fucking wiki. God, this dude's whole face shit.
Antlithunder walking in, my Botox queen.
I was thinking.
Oh my god! Yes,
And like Big Bertha from fucking Super Mario World.
yes. Oh my god, this dude has the biggest lips.
There's no chin.
There is no chin. It's all
real.
You know that one video with the dude where he's like, look at his head, look at his lips. He's talking about this dude's lips. This guy's like, oh my god, the dial-up lips. For years, he has got the widest nose I have ever seen on either a Japanese man or an insect cyborg. I don't.
Mushroom Work still has the bigger nose, I think.
That's fair. I think
dang.
Mushroom Org has him beat for girth, but only just barely. We are not exaggerating when we say that this dude's face looks like a tiki mask. He's got almost like perfectly square lips. I don't understand how they allowed this to happen.
It's the 70s, baby.
It don't look great. Which is a big shame.
Looks like a catfish that ate a bee.
Yeah.
God, he does look like a catfish that ate a bee. This is one of those things that, like, truly, we can try to explain it, but words will never do it justice. You just have to go look at this guy.
Like,
and his big ol' lips, and his big ol' nose, his big ol' eyes.
You ever extend your bottom lip so it's like really, it's like getting the entire lip and then like kind of stick out your tongue to get like a effective bigger lips? Has anyone done that?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
that.
It's that, but like 2 times.
Yeah.
You know what it really is? Do y'all remember a couple of years ago, I want to say this was around like 2016, 2017, when it was like, it was one of the Jenner girls had that like do-it-yourself at-home lip plumping thing?
Oh no.
Yeah.
It looks like he did that to himself. Just got what you call Bill full Caitlyn Jenner lips.
Those are terrifying sound effects, Fats.
Thank you.
They're
tried.
probably accurate.
I just don't.
Lion, man.
We didn't grace the eyes all that much, but
the eyes are good.
I want to give them a shout out. They're okay. I think they unfortunately compliment the lips a little too well because he's got this big old
he's just got these big caverns
and these
for eyes,
sunken caverns caverns of eyes that really just tie the whole tiki together.
You cover up the mouth, right?
Christ.
And then you're like, I like it. Then you just like cover the mouth. It's just such a mess.
I moved my finger over to the image and covered up the mouth.
Right?
And I was like, damn, that's a pretty good monster. And then I lowered.
Get the nose in there too. Yeah, there you go. That's the good shit.
If you wanna get like whiplash, just move your hand up so you just have the lips.
Hey, that's a pretty good looking monster. Whoa! Jackpot, baby.
If there's anyone who is listening who doesn't, look this stuff up or hasn't watched the episode, I do implore you to Google Antlithunder.
Mm-hmm.
Because my goodness.
If you look up Antlion Thunder, if you look up Kamen Rider Antlion Thunder, you will get a bunch of great pictures of this guy in particular. It's just like, it's such a good suit right up until you get to his face and his weird like feeler mustache and
he's got like the evil villain mustache. It's just,
he does. He's got the snidely whiplash.
Yeah, it's just it's just talons. Also, this is going a little bit forward, but I'm gonna be complaining about him now. He doesn't even have toxcognats.
Oh yeah, he doesn't. Like, all he does is sandpits.
No, yeah.
He has literally no other powers. It is all I can say is there is a reason we said this dude is the basement. We'll see if that continues. We've got the peeled gorilla next. Not next episode, but next session. that guy's already looking pretty rough.
No, I love that guy.
No, I adore him.
You love peeled gorilla, man?
I will defend peeled gorilla.
I remember during the preview, I said he looked like he put on a face mask to meet Kamen Rider this morning, and I'm very into it.
Yeah. He seems like a good gorilla. Except the whole Nazi thing, but...
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
There's always that caveat, though.
Yeah. Hard to find
Shout
a
out
gorilla.
to all of our shocker men, because we haven't gotten to have a good shocker man in a very long time since their faces are all covered now.
No, we still get them.
Every now and again. Yeah, we did get that one. The one that is now our SoundCloud icon. Love that, dude.
I'm making the face, but you can't see it, so...
Yeah.
I won't hold it for long.
Speaking of shocker men, I guess going forward, once we go to the shocker base, we do get one that actually speaks up for multiple lines.
Yes, the shocker grunts are starting to get lines now. So I do like the way that the scene starts, because it starts with Antlion rolling up into his base and everyone's looking kind of somber. And Antlion's like, yo, come on, chin up. I just did good shocker shit out there. Let's go. Where's your shocker pride? And basically the answer to where's our shocker pride is management has sent new management over because they are not happy with our performance, sir. And so we have found out that Colonel Zoll of Shocker's near and Middle East Middle East branches is going to be being transferred to the Japan branch to help essentially try and do what Sabotegron did, except ideally without being murdered by Kamen Rider.
I do kind of adore that Colonel Zoll is explicitly described by Antlithunder as the most powerful man in all of Shocker.
Right?
Except, obviously, for, like, the Shocker leader, I would assume.
I would hopefully assume, but maybe that means Fasci Stachi is not a man.
Oh, shit.
Statue.
He's a cyborg freak.
Right.
He's not normal.
Oh, heck.
Or,
actually,
I guess, is the implication that he is just a man? Is that what we're going for?
Yeah, I think
assuming.
Commander Colonel Zoll is supposed to be just a human. And I don't know too much about Kamen Rider to confirm this, but I may have accidentally just did a spoiler, because I feel like there is something with, like, Fasci Statue, I think Fasci Statue is supposed to be like a cyborg or something.
I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised.
It makes sense.
I think... No, I won't say that. I've looked at episode titles and I'll leave it at that.
Fair enough.
Stop doing that.
To be fair, I do know at some point we start...
chart out our schedule.
Yeah. I know at some point we start encountering something called the Gel Shocker,
Oh,
and I don't know what that means.
Say it.
Well, I mean, it's not a spoiler if you don't know what it means.
I don't know.
We'll find out together.
Yeah, we're all gonna find out.
You still know that there's
episodes.
like gelatin shocker now.
Yeah, it's just shocker. They finally decided that they don't have enough money to keep making cyborgs, and now they're making cyborgs out of Jello.
Yeah,
can't afford flesh.
Can't afford flesh.
They're joining the gummy bear business.
I was just imagining a Kamen Rider action figure like stuck in a Jello mold.
Hell yeah!
You can't
Delicious.
Listen, you can successfully enter the food industry and abandon fascism. Fanta did it.
Yeah. Hey, B?
Yes?
I need you to clarify that statement immediately.
I think this is going to depend on how much people are interested and comfortable with World War II history, and I encourage everybody to read it on their own at their own discretion.
I'm fascinated.
You can't do this to me, B.
I'm genuinely a little.
I'm so.
Look it up.
Oh, it's. I mean, come on. It's got to be at least somewhat relevant to the podcast. We're still, I assume, talking about Nazis. Please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a few things.
There's.
Stop thickening the plot and please just give me the sauce. I'm so confused, and I'm starting to get worried. Is the problem? I love Fanta. Orange soda. That's my joint.
I think the fastest way to summarize it is Nazi soda.
Oh no!
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's probably the fastest way. Fanta is originally a German company.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, from the 40s.
I mean, I can give you a slightly extended Cliff Notes.
Oh wow, this is a wild paragraph. I'm just gonna.
Holy shit! What a revelation!
Oh,
I'm so sorry.
My God.
No, this rules.
Don't apologize.
So
it's just I literally never knew in my entire life that Fanta was ever in any way, shape, or form associated with Nazi Germany.
Yeah, it was banned in the U.S. for quite a while because we had an embargo against trading with Nazi Germany. So
wow.
Yeah, and that's why it was invented in the first place because they couldn't get the Coca-Cola formula.
Yeah, because we couldn't trade it with them, so they were like, "We'll make our own soda, Nazi soda."
It's fruity.
It do be fruity though.
It do be fruity, and like I said, you can abandon the fascism and just enter the food industry.
Is
I'm
Nazi Germany the reason why we have grape soda?
I don't know if Fanta invented grape soda. If they are, then unfortunately yes. But
I wonder.
I'm not gonna give them credit for that.
Fair. That's entirely fair.
It doesn't matter if they made it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you think. Wow. Wow.
I suppose it's worth noting that it wasn't like Nazi scientists.
No, I'm sure.
It was due to like trade issues. I'm sorry. It's not.
I mean, it's still wild given what I'm reading here. But
I mean, it has strong ties to that political climate, but it wasn't like Nazi scientists rubbing their hands together in the basement thinking, "We will usurp Coca-Cola," with their Nazi
we will
formulas.
Make our own soda, and it shall take over the world.
No. It was just they had to make a soda for the Nazis, and that's what they did because they wanted soda. But the U.S. was like, "You can't have it, though."
It was still made. I'll need to fact check this unless you can confirm the. But it was still made by Coca-Cola?
Yes.
Okay.
I just looked. Sorry.
It was just invented within.
Yeah, it was a soda made for the Nazis,
but invented by an American company. Oh.
Coca-Cola doesn't really exactly have the greatest ethical track record to this day, to be fair.
Yeah, no, but I'm just like, that's just wild.
They basically had a deal that said, "Oh, we're not national, we're not nationally owned, but also we're posted in Germany, so we literally can't trade."
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, guys, we're just a company.
Please
I
do
bet a
not
PR
look
person
behind
got on that Wikipedia page and made sure to put that note there.
I bet.
We gotta cover this up.
And this is not to say Fanta is in any way associated with fascism to this day. Obviously, Fanta is just a soda at this point in time. Please do not take this as your big sign to stop buying Fanta.
Finally,
It's
I can
fine.
stop buying Fanta.
I'm free.
Needed a reason.
Free from the shackles of Fanta.
You can stop buying Fanta and start buying G Fuel, finally.
Yeah. It's time to truly rise up, gamers. So Colonel Zoll is showing up, and by showing up, I mean, like, right the fuck now. And he's here at the Shocker base, and he is... You know when they say dress for the job you want? Well, my man is living the life, because he is... I mean, it is just... It's the stereotypical, like, evil Nazi general outfit to a T. He's got the hat, he's got the uniform with all the medals on it, he's got an eye patch, he walks around with a riding crop all the time for no apparent reason. Like,
he uses that thing, though.
Well, he do, yeah. I guess it's fair. He do be keeping that motherfucking thing on him.
At all times.
At all times.
All times. I hope you're into that, because he's going to pull it out.
The streets and the freak of the sheets.
Oh my god. I mean, if that's as freaky as you get, that's pretty safe.
I mean, yeah, that's honestly...
Yeah, I mean, that's not what I was yelling about.
That's fair. Would you
I
like
feel
to
I'm
elaborate on
incriminating myself further? Let's keep going.
No, please. My favorite part of the show is when B-Drops incriminates themselves.
Well, I get continuing with Kamen Rider, Colonel Zoll immediately proves why he carries a riding crop around all the time when he approaches a shocker grunt whom he accuses of wearing his uniform sloppily, to which I say, it is a unitard with a belt. I don't really know how you can possibly misswear that.
I do appreciate, though, the scene of the shocker grunt, like, adjusting his belt and, like, straightening it out.
Like, you could say, like, you have poor posture, soldier, or something. I think that would have been fair, but, like, you can't really misswear this uniform. It's not possible.
Maybe the mask was on crooked.
He didn't adjust his mask at all. I don't know.
Well, he's stupid.
He is stupid.
I hope he's not stupid. That was a shocker commander. That was a commando.
Yeah,
one of them big boy units.
This does not change anything, Fats.
You know, that's fair. That is, I suppose shocker grunts are not made for their intelligence.
First off, this is a shocker grunt.
Yeah.
Second off, a fascist.
Mm-hmm.
So, like...
And third, based off of what Colonel Zoll said, he's a sloppy shocker grunt, too.
Sloppy fascist.
The only thing worse than a fascist is a sloppy fascist.
Give him the old sloppy fascist. That's what Antlithunder does.
So, for...
Alright, that's my one.
Holy shit!
We really are getting these in.
For everyone, since this is going to go up at the same time, but I'd like to make it known and incriminate us all a little further.
Oh no!
Oh boy.
We're recording this earlier in the day.
Yeah.
This is us earlier.
Yeah. You want to talk about built different? This is a podcast that is built different.
Like, the only time we get like this is when it's, like 2, 3 a.m. I can't confirm. Just...
The energy is always there.
Yeah, I think... apparently these 12-hour points on the clock are what do it. Like two to three. Just...
If I am awake, then I've got the power, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like fucking He-Man. By the power of Grayskull, indeed.
Indeed.
Alright.
We need to move on.
So anyway, Taki is listening to all this through FBI stuff.
Yeah, we're at the FBI listening device / radio station playset, where Taki in his new fit is getting sent, I guess, like a telegram or something by the FBI, talking about how Commander Zoll has been tracked to Japan, and Taki makes a comment on how I keep saying Commander. This is an important point of order.
General, right?
Nope.
Colonel.
Lower.
Colonel.
Yes. Colonel. Yeah. Zoll is only a colonel.
Somehow the most powerful man in Shocker is only a
colonel,
so
right.
I live in fear.
Yeah.
Higher ups gonna suck.
A little bit.
That's why he's the most powerful, and they keep him on the ground. They don't want him too high in position, or he'll just not be doing anything.
Yeah, that's
don't
fair.
even
He's
need
more
power,
effective
mate.
with the ground troops.
As we can see, he really whips them into shape, I suppose. Taki's out for vengeance now, though.
Yeah, Taki wants blood, and by the power of his Willie Nelson jacket, he'll have it too.
Because supposedly Colonel Zoll has killed many of his comrades.
Yeah,
Ooh, that's right.
yeah. He's apparently Colonel Zoll has really busted some FBI ass in the Near and Middle East, which I asked about it then, and I demand to know now, where the fuck is the Near East?
Isn't that where, like, I feel like, why is the FBI there? Like, isn't that the CIA's job?
So many questions, Shakes.
To be fucking shit up over there?
Yeah, why is it the FBI?
I guess
Why is
they're
the
about
FBI
a
in
decade
Japan?
too early. Yeah, that's the other weird thing.
Why is
Don't
this the
worry about
FBI shit in the first place? Why isn't this like a UN issue or something?
The Near East is a geographical term roughly encompassing the transcontinental region comprising of Western Asia,
Yeah,
Turkey,
that
and
checks out.
Egypt. So it's still the same. It's not a
Okay.
relative term.
So it's just east of the Middle East.
Yeah.
It is capital letters.
It's the Middle East, but just a little more.
It's the Middle East Plus. It's
I
the
think
Middle
that's-
East now with DLC.
That was fully a what's it called? I think that was a translation thing. That was a localization choice
That
to
makes
just
sense.
call it that, because I don't know if that's what someone in Japan would refer to it as, considering all that is West.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Also that.
The term "the East" is a very Eurocentric terminology.
I mean, surely, yes, though. I don't believe I've ever heard the phrase Near East
I'd
before.
never heard
No,
Near
that
East
one's
before
weird.
this episode.
It's kind of weird. I feel like
I
for
get it,
localization purposes, you could have very much got away with just saying Middle East.
Yeah, you definitely could have. But I guess they've just made them. They wanted to make him seem that much more intimidating.
As conceived in terms of proximity territory to Europe.
Yeah. So Colonel
Seems fair.
Zoll's been tearing it up in the Middle East,
Yep.
but
going
not
absolutely buck
China.
wild.
We're definitely making a point to say the Middle East because we don't want to say continental Asia, because I'm sure China has their own shocker branch.
Yes, of course. Surely China must have their own shocker branch. But yes, so where
Immediately following Taki's learning of this information comes my favorite news report in the whole series thus far. I very much love it. We cut to the club watching TV, and they're reporting on the major traffic snarls that have been happening in mainland Japan recently, and basically the entire report amounts to nothing to report.
Yeah. The gist of this report is, damn, the holes sure do be happening in the roads, and it's causing a lot of traffic. We don't know why that happens.
Fucked up,
Like,
right?
we know you all know, but anyway, on to the weather.
Yeah. And now here's Bill Backley with sports. Bill?
Like, there's nothing useful there whatsoever. Nothing about, like, we've redirected traffic through these safe routes. Here are, like, how you can notice these things happening, or anything remotely useful to someone actually watching
Well, to be
the
fair,
news if this were happening.
it's not like they can, like, interview the people that it happened to for some additional helpful details, right?
Oh, of course
like,
not,
anybody who
but-
gets hit gets lost in the sauce, so they, like, literally all they've got to go with is the holes are happening.
I'm still working under the premise that they don't know what's causing it.
Mm-hmm.
They could still say something helpful, like, we've investigated what it looks like and have identified certain roads where that might be weaker, so you take these paths, or this is what it looks like, here's a picture, be on the lookout for this, would be my
That's fair.
baseline, I think. They had a shot of, like, just a bunch of cars on the highway in traffic.
If you want to get extra fun on this concept, you have an interview a science man
Yeah.
and be like, they seem vaguely similar to antlion holes, but on a massive scale.
Wow, you're a crack, there's no way.
Antlion
Like,
holes.
something like that.
Sounds
Very
pretty
totally-
unbelievable, don't you think?
But then the scientist turns.
The data's
to
there.
The scientist then turns the camera and it's Hongo.
Ugh.
It's just like,
Ugh.
no.
Go back to
believe
Europe.
it. And then he jumps back to Europe because we
Yep.
know he can do this. He did not take a plane.
He just jumped.
Yeah. Show
He's
me
been
evidence
practicing.
that he couldn't.
No, that's fair. Just pole vaults his ass between Europe and Japan.
Boing.
Ride or fly.
Yeah.
Right or die.
Reader. And
Anyway,
then Taki's like, or Goro is like, that's fishy.
someone's like, that's fishy.
Someone's like, that's fishy. It
The point
doesn't
is,
matter.
we're hanging out with some of the Moto Club people, and we've got some good ass fits, baby.
Oh, man.
We do.
The 70s fashion catalog has arrived.
Oh yeah,
But in a good way.
in the
Yeah.
best way. Are you kidding me? Even Goro's got a dope fit for this one.
Honestly.
Goro's generally
Yeah.
a pretty well dressed
Y'all
kid.
see my man in the rainbow sweater
Heck
with
yeah,
the boy
Goro.
shorts
The
overalls?
Dress for Pride Month. Love it.
Fuck yeah,
Showing your support.
showing his support.
The real winner here, though, and let me make the honorable mention for the runner-up. Taki is the runner-up.
Obviously.
He's got the fringed leather jacket.
Oh,
He's
the
got all the
fringe.
tassels.
Mhm.
It's really a look of its time.
It really
it's something
is.
impeccable.
He's
But
absolutely on that Crosby, Stills, and Nash
he
shit.
didn't.
Absolutely.
Oh, and the Mexico tourist shirt.
Yes.
underneath.
Yes, he's still wearing the Mexico tourist shirt that he was wearing a few episodes ago when he got his poor new Jeep exploded immediately by moth dart.
Exploded.
Thanks,
Hi,
Mike.
I'm back from Mexico with my
Arriba.
new car. Sorry, Taki.
I got it there.
And our absolute, I would like to think clear number one winner for best fit this episode, Hayato.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I want, like,
Because, I mean, Tachibana has a good fit, but it is also a pretty standard Tachibana fit.
yeah,
Yeah.
but,
but-
like,
Middle.
I want Hayato's wardrobe here. Like,
Absolutely.
it's real good. Damn.
It is without it is without exaggeration Naoto Shirogane outfit from Persona 4.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's straight up. And it
If you're not
looks good.
If you're not familiar with the character or the franchise, I'll say explicitly what he's wearing. He's wearing a blue jumpsuit with a black belt around the waist and a white turtleneck,
Mhm.
and he's also wearing a blue cap.
Mhm.
It's such
Very
a good fit. It's such
very,
a
very
good
good.
look.
Just wonderful.
So there's a conversation that is had between Taki, Hayato, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Yuri's not actually in this scene, right?
No, she's not.
I believe she's
Okay.
in the next scene.
Yes, she is in the
it.
next scene. Yes, that's specifically why I brought it up. Is because I know she's, or at least I was pretty sure she's not in this scene, but she's definitely in the one right after it. But there are talks among Hayato and Taki about how obviously this might be a shocker plan and how they should go out to investigate. And so investigate they shall. And so it is Taki, Hayato, and now Yuri of the Rider Girls who are out investigating. And this actually brings up kind of an interesting point that I noticed is we are significantly reduced in Rider Girls for these 2 episodes.
Yeah.
We only get 1 apiece for each episode. And in the second episode, the one that we get only shows up for like a few lines. And then after that, they're just gone. It's
Budget cuts.
Yeah, I guess, or something. Maybe they all had other obligations at the time, but it's kind of strange in hindsight. Especially after like the Mushroom Org episodes, where we spent so much time with like literally the full contingent of Rider Girls together, going down to
so
now
good.
you just get 1.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what other obligations they have or what sort of budget they were working with, but I'm glad that for the first time we did get them all together for a very long time, they really, really capitalized on it.
Yes.
And at the very least, the one time we get a Rider Girl these episodes, or I guess I should say, for episode 26 specifically, we see Yuri actually being pretty proactive.
Yeah. For the most part, she's definitely not a detriment in any way to the episode, which is always going to be a bonus, especially considering, the way, the issues we had with Ryukyo's writing for a bit while she was our main kind of normal side character beyond Tachibana. So, it is nice to see that at least she wasn't like, we didn't get quite as much play with her as I would have liked, but, she wasn't just a total throwaway character, kind of like how Mari sort of ended up being in the second episode. Because really, if we're being quite honest, Mari just didn't have to be there.
I don't even remember Mari in the second episode.
She only shows up for the scene after, where, we cut to the Moto Club and Goro is in a not great mood. Right?
Yeah.
And they're explaining why. She has like a line or 2 in that.
Huh.
She literally just didn't need to be in the episode.
I guess not. My goodness.
Gotta get paid.
Gotta get paid. But yeah, so we get Hayato, Taki, and Yuri. Interestingly enough, I commented on this while watching the episode, but I did think it was strange that Yuri is the one that we get specifically, because she is riding a motorcycle with the other 2, as they're riding around trying to find these antlion pits. But she's the only member of the or she's one of the members of the Rider Girls that said they didn't have any previous motorcycle driving experience. Now, obviously, one would probably assume that just means she learned to ride between then and now, but I did think it was interesting that if you were only going to have a Rider Girl for like this particular purpose, it's weird that you wouldn't go with the one that has been established to know how to ride already.
Character development.
Yeah.
It's true. Though, it could be character development, or it could be just simply the fact that, for whatever reason, Michi just isn't very present in the series.
Yeah. And
they might simply have not been able to get her for this episode.
Yeah, that's something I definitely kind of would like to know more about if that information is out there somewhere, because Michi is very rarely in the show. And it'd be interesting to kind of figure out why that is. I wonder if maybe it was like contract disputes, or if it was just other obligations, or what the case was. But she just does not show up very often. And it's almost... It's one of those things where initially you don't really notice it at first until it happens for long enough that it almost becomes like glaringly obvious that like, hey, Michi's not here again. Michi's still not here, and Michi's not showing up. And then, she finally showed up for the Mushroom Org episodes, and she's gone again. And it's very strange. I'd be interested in finding out why that is, for sure.
Me too.
But so we get some short but important scenes. We get one scene where after a little bit of driving around, Taki is like, we're probably not going to find anything driving around an area like this. I think I'm going to just take myself a little bit of a quick break. And so he stops by the roadside, has himself a little stretch and a bend. And during that time, as well as while he is having a quick conversation with Hayato, he gets a picture taken of him by a shocker grunt. And then... go ahead, Gopher.
Yeah, you said we weren't getting many good shockers grunts, but I beg to differ. I think this one is good.
You think that's kind of... I don't remember him having like a particularly good shocker face, but...
I just think it's...
Yeah, maybe a little.
Never mind, yeah, that is pretty solid, actually.
It's not the face specifically. It is also that he is covered in like leaves.
Right, yes, I was going to say, this is one of those full package kind of shocker grunts.
Not in the ghillie suit sort of way, just more of like a I rolled in a bush sort of way, and it's delightful.
It's very solid. But yes, we transition from that scene to another scene where they are all at the cafe. They have a brief conversation, I think, about Shocker. I don't remember what this conversation was about, if anything at all. Does anyone have anything for me?
It's like... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Well, I remember Yuri was complaining about basically how boring this has been, and Hayato is like...
Yes.
I guess he's being real quippy with her. Basically, she's like, oh, this is so boring. I thought there'd be something exciting happening. And he was like, peace and quiet is always best, and she's eager to get to some action, and he calls her annoying.
Good.
Thanks, Hayato.
So
Thanks,
catty.
Hayato. I mean, it's not Hayato if he's not being catty.
It's true. I will say, third place runner-up for the fits this episode is...
She had a good fit.
Yuri.
Yeah.
Pretty simple. I think it was just a t-shirt, but...
I think it was like a long sleeve
with
shirt.
the bell-bottom jeans.
Bell-bottom jeans,
Yep.
t-shirt, and then like a business casual sort of long sleeve jacket.
Yeah.
It was real nice, yeah.
Over top,
Yeah.
Yeah, just a bunch of quality fits in this episode, as always. Love that 70s fashion.
Then we have Fashy Waiter.
Yes.
Oof.
So they pay and they leave the cafe, and it is revealed that there was a microphone hidden in the like little, I guess it was supposed to be like an on-table candle or something. And we find out that secretly Shocker has been waiting at this restaurant where they have used, or they are going to use this picture they have taken of Taki and this sound recording that they have taken of Taki. Can you guess what it's for? If you said a clone, you were close.
This is very, very minor, but I'm just rewatching the episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that in the shot they used, the waiter hits his head on like some wire.
Does he?
Yeah.
Oh, outstanding.
That beautiful touch.
Yes.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Sometimes it's the little things. So yeah, if you said the clone of Taki, you were close. Because what we do is we hand a nice blue makeup kit to old Colonel Zol, who props up the Taki picture on it after he opens it up. He takes off the hat and he starts ruffling that hair. And then he takes out the Shocker Clayface formula and he starts spreading it all on his bits. And then we get a quick cut and we see him wiping it off of his face with a towel. And lo and behold, the Colonel Zol now looks exactly like Kazuya Taki, except he's got evil person eyes, is the only way I could describe it.
Yeah.
A very, very minor touch. that I would love to point out for no reason other than the fact that it amuses me is in the transition of cuts between Colonel's little face and Talkie face, they pan away and then they have the camera set on a shocker grunt who leans in with so much interest. He's like, whoa. And then they pan over to the left to show the Colonel, and I don't know why I was just like amused to see the like genuine interest and delight on this shocker grunt.
That's fair. It's nice to see shocker grunts enjoying their job, I guess. I don't know.
No, it's not.
Feels like a weird energy.
A little bit. I don't know. It kind of felt like less like seeing someone getting like genuine fulfillment and satisfaction out of their job, more so than seeing like a dog get confused when you had a treat in your hand and then you hide it behind your back.
That's exactly what it is. Oh my god.
Yeah. Just like, whoa. It was just, I can even smell it. Huh? Colonel. What's happening?
Where'd you go? Colonel.
Someone rubbed something on your face and now it's gone.
God, I'm just imagining, like...
They're replaced with this FBI agent.
You know, like those videos or sometimes like movies and stuff where they'll have, you know, like an animal character, but it's not supposed to be anthropomorphized. And so they'll just like do subtitles for like them barking or something like that. I'm just thinking of a scene like that with the two shocker grunts where it's just like, it's
so
just
good.
these subtitles. They're like, "Where's the Colonel gone? We've been invaded by the FBI."
If they weren't fascists, I would love that.
Good old
It's just
shocker
too
grunts.
Good old shocker grunts.
You know, I feel like it is just kind of the nature of mooks that, you know, even though they're the bad guy and you're supposed to root against them, you always end up falling in love with them just a little bit.
I have always really enjoyed mook and henchman characters a lot.
Yeah, that is true. You are known
and
mook
bad.
enjoyer.
They're just like little animals.
Yeah.
Little creatures.
It's all guys. There's little guys. This is their birthday.
So, and watching this again, I need to ask,
Hit me with it.
why is Shocker doing all of this stuff? Like, they're trying to take Japan by force, but they have like skin cream that just changes your facial structure temporarily. And like you could just sell that as a product, Shocker. You know that, right?
Or you could use it to impersonate powerful members of state.
Either one or both.
Either one or both.
And
Or
I'm just
both.
like, why do you do this roundabout nonsense of stealing like rocket fuel and killing FBI agents and freaking blowing up Japan with earthquakes? Like, you idiots.
Look, we never said Shocker was a smart organization.
In fact, we've said the opposite.
Yes.
Very frequently.
Time and time again, Shocker has proven its stupidity. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I can only imagine that like a lot of this is just like hindsight is 2020 and they needed an antagonist for the episode. You know.
I
Of
mean,
course. And
on the meta perspective, I get it.
Yeah, on
I
the meta,
understand
at least,
why
but
they
yeah.
don't do it. But in universe,
There's just not a fucking excuse. The only thing I can think of is that maybe certain supplies are limited. And like maybe a lot of this is like in-house funded. Or maybe there are certain expectations. I don't know. Maybe there are Shocker guidelines they have to follow.
change the
Shocker law.
guidelines.
Yeah.
Change
Shocker
Shocker
law.
law. You could probably make more face cream if you didn't spend so much money on nuclear bombs.
And cyborgs.
And cyborgs.
Yeah.
They've got to be just hemorrhaging money on those cyborgs at this point.
You've blown
Yeah,
them
they've
up.
got a gimmick. They're sticking with it. I can respect
Yeah,
that
I mean,
in a
it's-
sense.
Yep.
It's it's as admirable as it can get for Nazis, I guess, but but also your plan sucks.
Yeah.
Shocker. And you should feel bad.
But I'm not going to feel bad. I'm going to be happy that their plan sucks.
Yeah. We'll revel on
Anyhow, so we watch Commander Zoll get himself turned into Taki, and then he decides it's time to go Grand Theft Auto on this motherfucker.
I'm sorry, I forgot. I have to mention one last thing about the transformation.
Please.
it. Sure.
I think we mentioned it before when we were describing his outfit. Colonel Zoll wears an eye patch. He wears an eye patch over his left eye.
Yes, he does.
Presumably, he has an injured or missing eye.
Right.
He takes off his eye patch for his transformation after he's applied Taki's face, and there's just a matching eye there, which I'm assuming at this point now means that he only wears the eye patch for his fascist aesthetic.
That was my exact thought as soon as I saw it. It was like, oh, so the eye patch is so that like people don't know he has two eyes, so he can pull off these disguises better. Could that that's the only either that or I was more correct when I made that joke, and this is literally like fascist Clayface cream, and he gets to just mold an eye in there.
Just make a new one, I guess.
Just make another one.
But the thing for me is that he took the eye patch off after he applied the face.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't think he made an eye. I think he just wears the eye patch.
He saw the picture and was like, it's my lucky day. My right eye already looks like this dude's. Let me just...
Meow.
It's so good.
Maybe,
Okay, I'm sorry.
maybe his eye is a different color. He has heterochromia,
Maybe.
So he
Maybe,
uses
but-
eye patch to cover that up, so he
Is he
doesn't
embarrassed
stand
about
out.
Yeah,
So he doesn't stand out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. That's what makes him stand out.
Well, you gotta
process
see,
is gonna
here's
be?
the thing you have to understand is it's very anime heterochromia, right? So it doesn't like, oh, this eye is like brown and this eye is green. No, he's got the one eye that's, normal brown color, but then the other eye, it's like red and it's got a swastika in it. It's some real anime shit.
But that doesn't explain it.
My Nazi
My Nazi power.
bloodline ability, Nazi gun.
Now I'll show you the power of a true fascist.
It gives you the power of being unable to make plans as a trade-off for having minor abilities of hindsight.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
Too bad. I already have both of those things.
He gives you
Got
the
him.
ability to Clayface. Secret bloodlight technique.
He's just a fucking Shunibyo.
It's absolutely, yeah, they're just
Right.
contacts.
Absolutely.
Hate this man. This is stupid.
Just fucking stupid ass fascist shitty.
He's our main antagonist through this episode.
God, he really is, yeah.
And he's really here to establish something that will become a trope later on.
Mhm.
Oh, do you have, or are we not there yet?
We're not there.
Okay.
I mean,
we're sort of there.
Well, I
but-
assume this is like Go Ranger type of insights.
somewhat. I mean, I think basically anybody who like grew up watching any amount of Power Rangers or whatever
Mhm.
would probably be familiar with this. Essentially, the mid-level boss is not a thing
Yeah.
we've had thus far.
So to say.
Consistently in this show, but he's our first one that we've gotten. He's the guy that comes in and he's in charge of all the guys that we fight weekly, but we don't fight him weekly. He's going to be around for a while.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's fair. This is definitely our first mid-level boss to ever really come in. Yeah. And that's
Goldar.
Yeah. He is our Goldar for sure in this series.
So, but yeah, like, if I were to talk about Go Danges, that's a thing that they had pretty early on. I don't think it took them remotely as long as Kamen Rider did to implement it, and I don't know if this is a thing that existed in older tokusatsu series. Like, if we go and watch Ultraman, for instance, I don't know if they have these mid-level guys.
I can't imagine.
But this is the first
would.
time we've seen it in Kamen Rider, so I don't know if he's like the progenitor of this trope or not.
I imagine he probably must be, right? I mean, unless, I guess maybe it could be predated by like some form of manga or comic or like other animated show potentially, but at least in the tokusatsu genre, I would have to assume that he is like the progenitor, the very first like mid-level guy, the first ever Goldar, or insert whatever mid-level boss you have in your mind here. So yeah, very cool to see OG Kamen Rider establishing tropes that are still used today.
It's very, very cool, yes.
Yeah.
Kamen Rider Ichigo is the doom of tokusatsu.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, basically, honestly.
There was stuff before it, but now there's DNA of Kamen Rider in every tokusatsu.
Yeah, I mean, more or less. At least in some way, shape, or form. I mean, just because it was like... except for maybe Ultraman, it was the first one to really, like, blow up in a major way. And that's kind of obvious from, like... Especially not only just the length of this original season, but also just, like, how quickly they started churning out other seasons afterwards. That, like, late 70s to early to mid 80s period, they are just, like, Kamen Rider, Kamen Rider, Kamen Rider, Kamen Rider.
It's very kaiju in extent.
Yeah, very much so, like the
event.
kaiju films, where it's just like, yeah, it's happening. Everybody's hyped for it. Get ready.
I believe we've linked this on the Twitter, and if not, we should. The Kamen Rider guide? Like, Kamen Rider was 71, V3 was 73, and then X and Amazon were both 74.
Both 74, right?
And then Stronger at 75, so that's another, like, 100 episodes within the span of a year.
Yeah, just churning out this show because it got so popular. Yeah. And it made them, like, a shit ton of money, which is why here we are 50 years later, and they are still making Kamen Rider.
Thank God.
Yeah, very much so. Thank God. It's cool to see such a long-lasting legacy, and it makes me very curious to figure out what happened because bringing up that Kamen Rider guide that Gopher mentioned, there is a very significant gap once you get to the mid to late 80s and the 90s. Because that is the point in time where we essentially stop having series, and all we get instead is we have a couple of movies.
Oh yeah, look at that. Black RX is 1988, whereas Kuga is 2000.
Yep, Kuga is the first time we get a serialized, like, yearly television show again, and that's 2000. Wow. So the entirety of the 90s, we just have like 2 or 3 movies. It's like Kamen Rider Zo, and I want to say it's like maybe Kamen Rider J or something like that.
Shin.
Yeah. I'm just curious as to A, what happened, and then B, what could have been. I wonder if there's any, like, concept art or plot synopsises or, like, elevator pitches or anything out there that can be looked at of, like, some 90s Kamen Rider stuff, because I would love to see that. I'd be very interested to see what, if anything, Kamen Rider was really doing in the 90s.
Yeah, it's something that's I want to look into as well, because I wasn't aware of that gap.
Yeah, and it's an especially interesting gap because, to my understanding, it is not a gap that exists in Sentai in any way, shape, or form.
Interesting.
Yeah, Sentai just, like, goes through it.
Maybe that's why. Maybe Sentai proved to be a more popular trend.
You know, that could also be possible because that's also around the time when Sentai ended up getting picked up by Sabin and brought over to the West as well.
Big worldwide boom for Sentai, and
right.
I understand the appeal maybe of a team, of a colorful team as opposed to a singular hero in a series.
Not to say that there weren't attempts
during the 80s and 90s,
because there was definitely. I mean, there was the masked the also Saban product, Masked Rider series.
That's Michael.
Yeah. that was brought over, but that was also explicitly based off of Kamen Rider Black RX.
Yeah.
Right. So it was essentially they were just like, we'll take this series from the 80s and we'll try to readapt it here in the like mid to late 90s. So yeah, I'd be very interested to see kind of what possibilities there might have been for Kamen Rider back in the 90s and why. And I imagine, now that we've kind of talked through it, I imagine it is probably most likely just the, Sentai was more profitable at the time to work on. But still, it'd be interesting to get more information on that situation, for sure.
If you know, please tell us.
Yeah, absolutely. Hit us up on the podcast Twitter. That being said, now that we've been nice and thoroughly distracted, let's get back to the episode.
What episode? What villain? Who?
Yeah. So Zol has turned himself into Taki, and he's now decided he's going to go be a menace in South Central while drinking his juice. He just kind of gets on a motorcycle and goes blasting through some restricted zone. I have no idea why the area is restricted, but it is. And so some cops tried to deter him, and he just kind of beats the crap out of them. Just
pretty horrifically.
Yeah.
Apparently he killed at least one of them.
Yeah.
And he does some shit to one dude's face. I don't understand how, but he does.
Just destroys their faces.
Absolutely. But it is important to note that at one point in time during the savage beatdown, he makes a point to take off his sunglasses and say, "Remember my face." And that's an important.
Man, I love Metal Gear Solid 4.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So we go back to Taki, Hayato, and Yuri. They are still driving around looking for what is going on when they also begin to get the sand rain. Hayato, suspecting that this is what they've been looking for, has Taki and Yuri go back to block traffic so that way no one tries to go through that way, while he decides he is going to stay and investigate. As one might imagine, he ends up being attacked by shocker goons. He turns into Kamen Rider. We have a fight. I don't recall there being too much that was particularly important about this exact fight, per se. Obviously, past our first glimpse at just how useless Antlion is.
Yeah.
Some mooks jump out of the ground like old Kamen Riders. That was nice.
Yep.
That was pretty nice.
Yeah, we do some good stuff with sandhills.
Yeah. There's a complete shot of one mook just rolling from the top to the bottom of the hill for no reason other than, I guess, to establish the environment they are fighting in,
Probably.
and it is a little longer than it needs to be in a way that amuses me endlessly.
Yep.
It's delightful.
It's that good shit.
There is one thing of note for Fat specifically is that this is where we get another full henshin.
Yes. Yeah, we do. I believe all the henshins in both episodes are full henshins.
I believe so too.
But yeah, we get we get the jump, we get the transformation. These I will say I like that these are starting to become more common. You can tell that this is a thing that they are trying to establish in the show now. It's like, this is how you become a Kamen Rider. This is how you do it. You follow these steps. You stick out the hands, you do the motions, you say henshin, the belt opens, you do the jump. Especially because that ends up becoming kind of like such a trope in the future that a thing they start doing in later Kamen Rider series as both a way to teach kids information they would probably want to know, and also help kind of introduce new characters when they show up, is they'll put out these little like mini videos. And I don't know if they put them out online or if they just like have them air during a commercial break or after the episode or whatever. But it'll be like the character, whichever new character that is a Kamen Rider that shows up, will like do a little video where they'll be like, "What's up? I'm so and so. I'm the new character, and here's how you do my henshin." Right? And so they'll have like the belt toy, and they'll have the change device toy, and they'll go through all the steps of like, if you want to be, Kamen Rider, Flame Blade or whatever the fuck, this is how you do his henshin. And,
eat your broccoli.
yeah, eat your broccoli.
Yeah.
Say your
Say your
prayers, eat your
prayers.
vitamins.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
God bless him. Wait.
If you want to be Kamen Rider Patriot.
No.
All the Rider maniacs out there.
Oh, Rider Maniacs. What are you gonna do when Rider Mania runs wild on you, brother? But yeah, it's cool. At least to me specifically, it's an interesting way to introduce a new character, and of course, like I said, it's hell, we touch on it in the next episode. There are going to be little kids, little boys and girls out there who want to play pretend Kamen Rider, who, they have their moms and dads get them like the belts and the toys and everything. And so they're going to be like, when I transform into Kamen Rider, that shit's going to be authentic because I'm going to do the poses right and everything. And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
We'll get to those kids when we get to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those kids are next episodes, but I do like that we established that in universe.
One last note about this fight before we move on. It is the return of something we haven't seen in a while. The bike controller.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if this was a not seen in a while or if this was the first time. I know we've seen bike be controlled before. I don't know if we've ever seen this specific device be used because this was on the side of the belt.
I remember Hongo did something when he did it, though I can't remember what exactly. I know he either had some sort of device or he like pretended to press a button on his belt or something. I don't think it was as clear cut and defined as it is for Hayato,
Definitely
who
not.
has like an actual like small panel on his left side of his belt.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is interesting. Like you said about being more consistent about the transformations, this is also establishing more consistency regarding what he's able to do and how he's able to do it. So that's cool.
Yeah, it's.
I don't know how he teleported his bike, but
he
It just blinks into existence.
I'm going to assume it's the auto drive function, or it was like a cloaking thing.
Maybe both.
Yeah, I'm going to assume it was also auto drive, and it's just way easier to shoot it this way. Oh well. It's got tools now, though. Go Gadget, rope,
Grappling hook, yeah.
Yeah.
grappling hook.
Go gadget rope line. Yeah, so
It gets him out of a pinch, and the antlion is just like, okay.
Oh, you win this one, I guess.
Yeah,
Antlion is very loath to do
his
anything
job,
with his
yeah.
hands.
I'm so mad at him.
You know what? Hold on.
Bad.
We are dunking on him, but it could be worse, right? At least he
It
doesn't
could
pull
be.
a fucking flying Squirtle and be like, you have slightly bested me. Anyway, here's our whole plan. Please leave.
This is...
I don't know. At least that was funny.
Yeah, that's fair.
Antlithunder is just sort of like standing there with a sassy pose.
Yeah.
Dude,
How you
headlights
gonna get out of this
24/7.
one,
Yeah.
Sailor?
Oh, you got out of it.
Oh, well, shit.
okay.
Well, yeah.
Bye, I guess.
just the worst saw trap ever.
Would you like to play a game, detective? Oh, you won.
Oh,
This is awkward.
Shit, okay. I don't have anything else really prepared.
Do you want a fist fight?
Yeah,
No, you want to walk away? Okay.
okay.
Uh,
I got Marvel. I don't know if that's something. We play Marvel. No? Alright, okay. Goodbye, detective. Damn it. Just really...
I'll fist fight you, Jigsaw.
Aw, you're so kind to me.
Yes, oh, well, that would be Saw spoilers. Does anybody care?
I sure as shit don't. Are you kidding me?
I don't care about... Like, I'm gonna watch them, hopefully, but I don't care about spoilers, honestly.
I'm gonna fist fight an old, dying man. Okay.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's fair.
That dude has, like, the super cancer, doesn't he?
Oh, cool.
Yes.
Super cancer?
Yeah.
He has a big brain tumor.
Oh,
Right.
you got the big brain tumor.
You got that big old brain tumor.
And his mighty brain.
Yeah, can I get a fucking extra large brain tumor and cherry coke with that? Yeah.
Small vanilla shake.
And a small seasoned curlies, because I'm trying to watch my figure.
I'll take extra large.
Anyways,
Yeah,
there's
sorry,
a-
I cracked myself up a
there's
little
a
bit. Anyway,
There's a scuffle and some other shit happening.
It's
Yes.
hardly a
yeah, the kind of
scuffle.
the more important thing that happens is amazingly not with Kamen Rider, but over with Taki and Yuri, as they are directing traffic. Some policemen are trying to come through. Obviously, Taki and Yuri are like, "Hey, y'all should stop." The policemen are reasonably like, what are you doing? Why are you driving traffic without like permission or a license or anything? Why do we need to stop? Obviously they give them the spiel about like, hey, some dangerous shit is going on. We think there's another like highway collapse that's been happening. It's dangerous even for cops. I remember being a line that was specifically said, I think it's by Yuri.
Yes.
When one of the policemen is like, hey, wait a minute, you're that guy who beat us up earlier, speaking specifically to Taki, I really appreciate the part where no one questions the fact that Taki is in a different jacket than the one he beat them up in. We're just going with
to
it.
be fair, that is exactly my defense whenever I'm approached by a cop for a past crime, that I am wearing different clothes.
I mean,
Are
yes.
you approached by a cop for past
But
crimes
also-
often, Beef?
from the condition in which these cops are in, right? This is at most like 20 minutes from now.
It's true, but
Which
I suppose a wardrobe change is not that concerning when you have a positive ID on the face.
I guess that's
Yeah.
fair, but also change of clothes and then also immediate confusion and denial of the acts. Like, denial I could expect, but also like the confusion, right? When you're like, hey, I recognize you, and then the person who supposedly just got done beating your ass not even 20 minutes
Who
ago
said-
goes, I've never met you before in my life.
Who specifically said, remember this face?
Yeah. You like, come on. Can we raise
Okay.
a flag? I am begging for at least one flag on the play, please.
You follow completely logically.
Yeah, I guess that's
I completely agree with you. However, like, I've unfortunately just gotten off of a really dumb, long true crime rabbit hole. This is weirdly believable.
Yeah.
That someone would
Yeah.
just do that.
Yeah.
By which I mean, like, they would be positively ID'd by a cop and was like, it's you, you're the guy who beat me up and said, remember my face. And they'd be like, oh no, it wasn't me, I don't remember that, who are you?
A likely story. Take him in.
It's
Like,
just the
I
words
feel
of
like-
defense. The
Yeah.
cop rolls up and they go, you beat me up. And you go, not me.
I mean,
No, it wasn't me, man.
Not me?
Not me, I'm different. No, but I saw you. You even told me to remember your face. You gave me your date of birth
No.
and everything. No, not me.
I didn't say that.
That wasn't me. Someone else did.
I don't. No?
It was another
I
guy.
wonder, how far you'd get if a cop comes up to you and it's like, you just beat me up, and you just look him right in the eye and say, they say all men are created equal, but if you look at me, and you look at Soma Joe, you can see that statement is not true.
Can you stun a
see-
cop with Steiner math long enough to get away? We're going to find out tonight on Mythbusters.
Normally,
Are we?
don't want to look.
I hope not.
Someone may die.
Yeah. Anyway, Taki gets arrested by the police because reasonably he is like, if they believe I did this crime that I know I didn't do, then an investigation will prove my innocence. So he agrees to be arrested, and we cut to Hayato, Taki, and Goro trying to speak with Taki at the prison. Although we do get a shot of Taki in prison first. And that's a fun little bit. Because he's in one of those, like, tiny little, like, at the police station holding cells that they have in Japan. So he doesn't have, like, much room or anything to do. So he's just kind of working out.
He's doing push-ups while doing handstands.
Yeah, he's doing
Taki is
handstand
fucking amazing.
Push-ups. He's doing calisthenics.
Kind of forgot he's a specimen.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why Taki is, aside from Tachibana, like, blowing shit up, Taki used to be our main source of shocker grunt deaths for the other category.
Yeah. He does handle himself very well in a lot of shocker grunt fight situations. And it's like, oh, right, you're, like, really good.
Yeah.
That's the point.
I know everyone else is kind of down on Taki for whatever reason, but I dig him, and shit like this is why.
I think Taki is half helpful.
Yeah.
I was gonna say when we first saw Taki in this episode, he was doing the two things he does best, which is look good and be half useful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Fair.
I will definitely give you that Taki, can leave a bit to be desired in the usefulness department, but he's on the upper spectrum of usefulness. I mean, obviously he's no Tachibana, but he's close.
Who is?
Yeah. That's...
Speaking of the upper spectrum.
Goro.
Well, yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I'm just going to have to leave that transition to you, B, because I have no idea what you're talking about.
What I was talking about was, so, as you said, we got that shot of Taki in his cell, and we see Hayato, Yuri, and Goro down below talking to officers at the entrance of the police station, and they're basically saying, like, hey, release Taki. We've been with him all day, we know it wasn't him. And the officer's like, we literally saw this guy beat our asses, and I don't think so. So they go around back, and Hayato says, it's time to go back to the club. Wait a second.
Oh, right.
And he just jumps like 20 feet in the air up to the window of the prison cell on the second story.
Yep.
This is in view of Mari and Goro.
Yeah, I was going to say, I appreciate that Yuri and Goro do not raise any kind of a fuss about this, but in fact, they see him do this jump and are both like, good job, looking good, Hayato.
Yeah.
Woo! I feel like
look
it's
at
just
cool,
that cool.
Joker.
I feel like Goro knows.
Goro surely knows. I know Yuri doesn't know, but Goro super knows. And he's
wow,
just
he sure
not...
jumps high, just like Kamen Rider. You don't think?
Nah.
Nah.
See, that's the thing, is in that sequence of lines that is theoretically being said amongst the Kamen Rider girls, the one who initiates the nah is Goro, because he knows, and he's like, let me just lead them off the trail real quick for my homie Kamen Rider.
They would get lost anyway, to be fair.
Can't leave them on a trail at night. Anyway, the important thing to remember for this is on Hayato's resume, he can now put 20-foot vertical leap.
It's true.
Which, I don't know about you, but if I was hiring someone and they could jump up a building, I'd be like, yeah, all right.
I know this is
Welcome
a
aboard.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know this is a call service customer service gig, but 20-foot vertical leap, I'm sure we can find something for you.
Yeah.
Welcome aboard.
Look, if we ever need some boxes up on like up high, you can just get them.
Yeah.
Perfect.
We've been putting these boxes up 20 feet for some reason. We
Look,
nearly
sometimes-
could use your help, actually.
Yeah, actually, could you start now?
Have you ever tried to pick up something from the top shelf of the supermarket?
It's not possible. You can't be done. Unless you have a 20-foot
That's when you
vertical
just-
leap.
Yeah.
Just be a freak and climb the shelves.
That's what I do.
Just really Shadow of the Colossus, that shit.
Yeah.
I get up on the first step. I get up on the first shelf, like the one near the bottom, and I just like up on my tippy toes and grab it.
It's terrible etiquette, I understand, but how else are you supposed to buy things?
Yes. Well, this is why you must be accompanied by a tall person at all times.
Wow.
much.
I
Fee,
come
I'm just-
from a line of very short people.
I'm just picturing you climbing up the shelves like that fucking horrifying clip of Charlie Brown skittering up the fence.
Yep. Yeah. I had the exact same. Yeah. Just. Ooh, Cheerios.
You my frosted flakes!
More than good.
They're more than good.
They're okay.
Pretty alright.
How dare you.
You ever notice that
dare
you ever notice that on the box of Frosted Flakes it says "of corn" after the flakes?
No. That makes
I love
sense,
it.
but I
That's,
wow, no,
I
I've never
noticed
read
that,
that.
this morning when I
Oh,
was
yeah?
looking at my box of Frosted Flakes of corn.
I'm googling the box.
It's one of my
It
favorite
does.
things.
It does. Oh my god.
It's one of my favorite things easily about food packaging is that they tend to have like cool names and there's always a stupid little subtitle that they have to put in so they have an accurate name.
Okay, but here's
Legal.
it's actually not unanimous on the box. Some of them have of corn.
But not all of them.
No.
You might be looking at older boxes.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I wonder.
The in stock one, just from Google Images, the in stock image for Walmart's chocolate Frosted Flakes do not have of corn.
Well, I
Interesting.
can tell
You
you that
trust
my
Walmart?
No.
yeah. I don't trust brand images. I trust the boxes themselves in
That's fair.
physical.
Yeah, they
Also,
might be.
my
the
Frosted
picture.
Flakes are chocolate, so I can confirm that it's chocolate Frosted Flakes of corn.
Oh wow,
Damn.
I didn't even know they made chocolate frosted flakes.
Hey, Kamen Rider.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Sorry,
I'm,
this did not mean to be.
no,
that
it's
long.
fine. I'm starting to get hungry now, so let's get on with it.
Here, have some pizza.
Thank you for this pizza. Actually, I've got the day off. I might go hit up that Mexican place, have me some Marthas.
Do it.
But you know who's getting hit up right now? Taki by Hayato.
Yes, thank
They're
you.
talking in the jail cell, and basically they're both agreeing that this is probably some sort of shocker conspiracy involving someone just disguising themselves as Taki. And Hayato says that basically just telling them that there's an imposter probably won't do it, so he'll have to go catch the imposter before making any attempt to free Taki because it may further incriminate him
Mhm.
I like
otherwise.
Hayato's line of
Sensible.
reasoning is also word for word. But why only set a trap for you? They must have a cyborg that copied your face.
Yeah, I mean that is a
And-
fair thing to reason if you are.
And just, wow. Alright, Hayato.
He's been in the game long enough.
But yeah, I guess so, but damn.
I'll admit that when your enemies don't make smart moves, they're a lot harder to predict.
Yeah,
Stupidity really makes it hard to track where on earth you're going. Like,
That's
if I were in Hayato's shoes and knew what he knew at that point in time, I would think, like, okay, my plan is already kind of ruined if I want to get in close for a chance to kill Kamen Rider stealthily because he already knows that the real Taki's in jail.
right.
So how do I further take advantage of this disguise, or is it time to get a new one? And my main thoughts are, well, unfortunately, I don't think, for whatever reason, they knew that Taki was FBI. So you might be able to use it in order to get other hostages or something. because you can't really infiltrate new intelligence or assets if you don't know they exist, so... But everything I said isn't exactly what happens.
Nope.
And I'm not saying I'm coming up with the smartest ideas, but I think they follow somewhat logically.
I believe in your ability to come up with a better plan than Shocker B.
I would hope I could.
I know you can.
Then they try to arrest Goro.
And Yuri, because they both try Hayato's cool trick.
Yeah. they're trying to jump up the wall, and they're like, "Hey, you're trying to break in? What are you doing?"
And Hayato has to go bail them out because they're getting chased by the fuzz. And then we get a scene that I think is very fun, just based off of the information that we know already. So, and here's a point of order that I want to get clarified, because Lord knows it's not clarified in the episodes, and it's a little bit confusing. We go to someone's house.
Yeah.
I don't know whose house we go to.
I think it's Hayato's.
I think it might be Hayato's house as well.
Or Taki's.
Yeah, because I was thinking it doesn't look like Taki's house. From or presumably what may have been his apartment. When we saw like the episode where he was like sitting on the desk and talking on the phone. But now that you mention it, this does kind of resemble. We did actually see Hayato's apartment the very first time we saw him.
Yeah.
In the first episode he appeared in. I could believe this is it. It would make sense if that's where they went to.
I could believe either, because we see this mostly from a different angle than we ever saw Taki's place.
Mm-hmm.
And there might just be a desk there, because the desk goes kind of by the door, and the door was in a similar position.
Sure, but we do get a shot of more of the room later on, and I just don't see anything that looks like that. Unless it's like in a separate room or something, but based on how tiny this apartment looks, I don't know if there are other rooms outside of like maybe a bathroom.
Right.
Yeah.
This is a tiny, tiny place. And completely irrelevant to everything, I just want to point out the one thing I love about this apartment, and it's that there is a small table by the front door that has a horse statue on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the good old horse statue.
Horse statue.
The other thing I wanted to bring up is it seems like if they are not just staying together, then the other person's, like whoever owns the house, is constantly expecting the presence of the other person. Because not only is it kind of only slightly shocking when we open to the door to this apartment and we see that Taki is already here, but it is also the main place that we just kind of hang out next episode.
Yeah.
Like, aside from one brief shot while we're in the Moto Club, we spend most of our free time in this apartment. So I don't know. I'm not sure what the situation is there. I don't know if they're, like, living together now or, you know.
I think you mentioned it while we were watching, is that, like, they moved in together because they're boyfriends.
Yes, that is my thought.
Taki's wife doesn't exist anymore.
Right. Now that Taki's wife has been Thanos snapped out of existence, he is free to live a happy eternity with his boyfriend Hayato.
Consistent evidence of that now.
I want to comment on a line from next episode, if you don't mind me jumping the gun a little. This is almost further supported by the fact in episode 27, Taki says that he is all alone in this world.
Oh god, that's right.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that in relation to his wife.
That's exactly what I was thinking at the time.
Yeah, same. I was like, where's your wife, Taki? She's gone.
She fucking doesn't exist. She got annihilated.
Like all memory of her. Yeah, like all memories of her seem to be gone too, or something. I don't know. Like, Bro.
We just forgot Taki had a wife and stopped writing her.
They're like,
Rest in peace,
And
Taki's
we
wife.
fucking did not forget, but for the fucking, what, like 10 or so weeks since the last time Taki's wife has been there.
Yeah.
Clearly the writers are just like, fuck this.
I'm mostly assuming that... You know, it's funny, because they also did bring up he was married. The first episode, Hayato showed up when the Rider girls were, like, flirting with him. So, like, I don't think they've forgotten, but he has somehow...
I think they forgot after that.
I think my headcanon is that he's divorced his wife.
Because he found the true love of his life.
Man.
Yeah, because he realized, oh, wait a minute, I want to marry a Kamen Rider instead.
And that's fair.
Yeah.
I think wanting to marry the Kamen Rider should be the goal of all little boys and girls.
Mm.
Go out and marry a Kamen Rider today, kids.
Look, I think I've said this before on this podcast, but get yourself a partner that you can punch fascists with.
Yeah. That's the true secret to life's happiness.
On it, coach.
Anyhow, we enter whoever's apartment this is, and Taki is just chilling in a chair in the dark. Because that's a normal thing to do.
The incredibly non-suspicious Dana Carvey's master disguise, Colonel Soul, whatever. Who's got his Taki act down pat.
Yep. He's got a sinister mannerism, evil way of speaking. Again, just like evil villain eyes. I don't know how else to describe it, but like there's clearly some like blue and red makeup around his eyes specifically.
That is...
Looking a little sick.
Yeah.
No, that's just me. That's just my eyes, in fairness. Like,
that's just how your eyes sleep.
It's just big
Maybe
old...
if you got some sleep.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Well, we'll probably never find out.
There couldn't be no problem that could be solved.
Look, it's been as long as I can remember. So I assume it's not just that.
That's fair. Anyhow, so we get to the apartment. Taki is there. Everyone's excited. We're like, Taki, you made it out of prison. Good job. Proud of you. Taki says some really sinister and ominous sounding shit. And then...
My friends.
Yeah. It's good to see you.
It's me, your
again.
friend, Taki.
Yeah. Really just... Yeah, just red flag central over here. He asks Goro and Yuri to go home, which is a request that they acquiesce to with some additional encouragement from Hayato, who then proceeds to not go home and is like, you and me, let's do some planning for when we're going to stake out Shocker next.
Wink.
Wink, yeah, you know.
Wink.
Big ol' smile.
Now that we're all alone, Taki, let's do a little bit of Shocker planning, if you know what I mean.
I kind of enjoy that Hayato's exact phrasing when shooing Yuri and Goro out of the house is, it's time for women and children to go home.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like...
This part of the video is for men only.
Okay.
Bye.
Yeah.
You know... Never mind.
No. I'm not. Nope. I won't. Damn it. Everyone gets one is not a. That is not like a. That's not a caveat. It's a requirement. All right.
Oh, no.
Everyone gets one is not a way to. That is not something to save you. You have to have. You need to bring one. Everybody. Everyone brings
I'll bring
one.
something with more punch.
All right. I expect that on my desk by next part of this podcast.
Oh boy, okay.
But yes,
I'll
so
become unhinged.
Good. It's my favorite David Cage game, Detroit Become Unhinged. The joke is that it's set in just regular Detroit.
They're just robots. You just screw them open.
Somebody broke into my house and stole the motherboard out of my robot. You can't have shit in Detroit.
So Taki does some planning.
Yes, Taki and
With
Hayato, they stay up all night planning.
Yeah.
And so because they've had such a long night, Hayato has to take himself a very conspicuous big sleepy. It is I really appreciate this because he does the like traditional like super over exaggerated yawn and stretch to the point where it almost looked like he was gonna try and wrap his arm around Taki.
Well, you see, he was playing it casual because if it was really Taki, that's what he would have done.
Yeah, that's true. But since he knew it was an imposter, he does the exaggerated big stretchy man big yawn, and looks like he passes out in the chair. At which point, now it is Colonel Zoll disguised as Taki's chance to strike. So he heads out of the apartment. He goes to Hayato's bike. He plants a time bomb on it. But then he is caught. Oh no. By our hero, the Kamen Rider. He comes down. I don't remember this exact sequence of lines. There was the one line that specifically stood out to me, which is like, Zoll says something and he calls Hayato, and then Hayato is like, only my friends get to call me that, shocker scum. And I was like, fuck yeah, Hayato, you tell him. But yeah, so we reveal the prestige, which is that Hayato knows that's not the real Taki, because the real Taki has been chilling outside the whole time.
Which we'll get to in a second.
Okay.
Because they start fighting, and like Hayato gets the whips, and
just straight to the face.
Yeah.
Just right across.
Yeah, and
ow, bitch.
Fuck.
Ow.
My lip.
But the same car that Taki was hiding over, like a few shocker agents just peek out too, and it's just
Taki entirely missed a whole gang of shocker guys hiding in the cars right behind.
It is either that, or the thing that I almost feel is kind of more likely, because Taki is essentially a mook for Kamen Rider, and all of the shocker grunts are obviously mooks for shocker. So they just had a mutual agreement, if you will. They were like, hey, obviously ass is going to have to get busted eventually, but we can save that until the morning, right? And they're like, So fucking Taki's been spending the night smoking and playing cards with the shocker mooks. Talking about, you really gotta like unionize and lobby for like better mook rights. You guys don't even have dental? It's just abysmal, man.
Don't even have dental.
Doesn't even have dental.
they play, they play charades. Taki's like, okay, guess what I am? No, you've been through that before.
Okay, for 3 words. First word, 2 syllables. Sounds like
Points and nods. really enthusiastically.
Yeah, so Taki had a fun night with the shocker mooks. But now it's time to get down to business. So yeah, it is revealed that, as we kind of alluded to a little bit earlier in the podcast, Taki just used his FBI connections, and they got him out of prison. And they used that to essentially set up like a sting or a stakeout of sorts, so they could prove that the Taki that was masquerading around, we'll say, was in fact a fake. we get a nice little costume transition where I think, like, Zol takes off his Taki jacket and it whips in front of the camera and in front of his face, and then when it's off, he's back in his regular Zol outfit. That's a nice little transition.
Does the crab bubbler
eye patch and everything.
Mm-hmm. And so Taki is, as always, left to fisticuffs with the mooks, while Kamen Rider is going to go after our bad guy.
I have a hypothesis, is that they did not fist fight the mooks. Or Taki did not fist fight the mooks. He just went back to playing cards with them.
That's fair. He kept it up until Hongo was at eye shot, and he was like, all right.
Yeah.
I'm fucking tired. I've been up all night. I'm going to bed. Y'all have a good one.
Yeah.
I'll see you next week for Poker Frank. And remember to bring chips next time. Fucking dick.
Can I have a good steakout without some, like, chili cheese dogs? Dang. So we get a little bit later. We ride on the motorcycles. We catch up to Antlion.
Mm-hmm. Or I should say more so, Antlion catches up to us.
That's fair. But we get probably one of my favorite transformation sequences in the show so far.
It's actually very good
because of how stupid it is.
And I have to give big shout outs to Shakes for just calling this shot for shot.
She sure did.
I was just as surprised as anyone else.
Would you like to be so kind as to go through it, since you had that Kobe from downtown?
Yeah. So I forget, did we establish that he was setting a bomb on his bike?
I believe we did, but just in case we didn't, yes. Okay. Zol's plan, while still disguised as Taki, is he goes and he plants a time bomb on Hayata's bike.
And it's set, apparently. It's been set.
Mm-hmm.
So they have this chase. Antlion does his Antlion thing, whatever. He makes a hole and Hayato falls in it. Hayato looks at it, he's like, well, I gotta, it's time to get down to business. Looks at his bike with a bomb on it and goes, yeah, all right. And it says Henshin jumps. The explosion from the bike propels him into the air and helps him transform.
It's so good.
It's the fucking best. I wish
he just launches right at him.
It, as great as it is in this version, I want there to be another another modern Kamen Rider that remakes this scene, because I want to see that with the full effects budget and knowledge that Kamen Rider has now. That would fucking rule.
I also want it with the fight choreography sensibilities, because you transform, and then you're still propelling into a rider kick.
Yes, that would be great. It'd be a short fight, but it would be a great fight.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because we don't quite have those choreography sensibilities, we get a bit longer of a fight, but we get some good stuff in that longer fight, including the return of the what was it called when he did it to Scorpion Man? Was it just the Rider throw? No, it was Rider Head Scissors, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, he doesn't call it out this time.
Yeah, he just does it.
Was that before or after they do the hill roll?
That is,
or is that next?
That is after hill roll for sure.
Okay, yeah, because they do this thing where they're set up in the monkey flip, but they both hold on to each other, so they basically make a wheel with their bodies, and they just roll all the way down the hill.
Yes,
really good.
It's so good. This fight has a lot of the stuff that is why all those episodes ago, when we first encountered it, I was like, I love when we fight on hills. Because this is a great fight that shows that we get all sorts of we get flips onto the hill, and so that you get flipped and then you slide down it. We get the will bit, we get the Rider Rana. It's just, there's so much good stuff that happens when we're fighting on the hill in these shows, and I love it.
Also, just to go back, I want to exemplify, we do get a shot where Kamen Rider just throws Antlion
Mhm.
down the hill. Like, nothing special, just picks him up, throws him.
Yep.
It's great.
But yeah, we get like just a. I really actually, I want to kind of go back and watch that scene again because I don't remember exactly how they set it up. But we just get like a straight up like Frankensteiner out of Kamen Rider.
Like a poison Frank. It's like it's back. It's kind of just real ugly, frankly. I think they kind of botched it and didn't want to do it again, but they kept the footage. But yeah, he gets the legs around his head and just drives him straight forward.
It's fucking, it rules in like
into the sand,
the best kind of way. But yeah, we get ourselves just a nice little fight between Kamen Rider and the Antlion. Kamen Rider hits the Rider Kick. We get a death that I think was good, but not as good as it could have been.
It's...
we were a little robbed.
Yeah. So Antlion falls into one of his own pits and he starts, dissolving into the sand and everything. We use like a toy in order to just show it getting buried. And it's really good, but it was just missing one little thing, which is that Antlion doesn't blow up. If he had blown up...
explosions?
Where's my explosion? Where's my explosion?
Nanako, where are my explosions?
Yeah, if we had just gotten that explosion, it would have been such a great death. Like, it's still pretty solid just watching Antlion kind of sink into a pit of his own creation. But man, if we had gotten that explosion, it would have been so good. And then we get something new. We get something fresh. We get something that's only going to happen now that we've got ourselves a mid-boss, a Goldar of sorts. We get a little bit of a taunting narration from Colonel Zol, who is back at his weird shocker desk at the shocker base.
Should we take a moment to describe the shocker desk?
You had a really good way to describe it last night, V, so...
Oh yeah, I don't know if you remember that, but...
I do remember that. So, it is... It is set in a completely red room, first of all. There's these weird, like goopy-looking white decorations on the wall. I don't know how to describe it outside of they just, threw plaster on the floor, let it dry, and then hung it up like it was decorative. There's a big, fashy, stashy plaque on the wall. Just a big black eagle, and he's got some sort of alarm-looking thing above him. It's got a red light in it. Just so it's the red room with the weird plaster framing the black bird, and below that is his horrible desk. The thing looks like it's made out of something with a bad texture for writing on. I don't know, concrete?
Maybe.
I couldn't tell you. The shape is bewildering. It is kind of looking like a Hot Wheels track almost. It's got weird slopes and curvatures that I can't really wrap my brain around being used in any sort of practical way. And he's got a big old panel to his right. That's sort of the summary of this horrible scene.
It's just the worst desk, and I love it. But yeah, so Zol is at his bad desk using his weird communication system to taunt the Kamen Rider. And then he speaks to the rest of the Shocker base, and he says, "Prepare our next plan. It's time to make use of Centiperas." And we get in before the Jikai, we get the in world or hey, here's the next thing we're doing. He doesn't explain the full plan, but we know who our bad guy is going to be. And I thought that was really
Brave New World. Yeah, it's new traditions.
Yeah,
being established before our very eyes.
We haven't we have some understanding that Shocker has maybe not like an order of operations by any means, but they're working on stuff while stuff is already happening. And not that it's very important or anything, but based on the way they've operated up until now, you could very easily assume that they just had one cyborg at a time that they unleashed until it was destroyed, and they made another one, and the cycle repeats.
Yeah. But here, now we can clearly tell it looks like they're being kind of manufactured in mass, sort of, so that, you know, there will be one ready should one be deposed.
Let me tell you, I have beef with Centiperas.
You got issues with Centiperas?
Yeah.
Well, that definitely makes sense. I think we all do kind of have a little bit of beef with Centiperas in some
Different
way
beef.
or form. And we will definitely get into that beef right after this ad read.
Hello, everyone. Are you enjoying the show? This is B-Drops here to give you a little information during our break. If you'd like to keep up with the latest news about longtime watcher First Time Rider, you can follow our official Twitter at FirstRidePod. If you'd like to keep up with what the rest of us are doing, please do consider following us on Twitter as well. You can find KingFats the 95th at KingFats95. You can find the Magical Whale Gopher at WhaleGopher. You can find Action Shakespeare at That Gal in the Hat. And you can find me at BDropsArt. And if you enjoy what we do, please do consider checking out the other project that Action Shakespeare and I are in with our wonderful editor Wordsy called Tales of Harbor, the actual play of the tabletop RPG system OVA. You can follow our official Twitter at Harbor Tales. You can promote the show on Twitter with the hashtag Tales of Harbor for the chance to have an NPC in the game named after you. You can use the document in the pinned tweet to suggest magical items for our player characters to buy. You can also catch our newest sessions live every other Friday at twitch.tv/Wordsy. Thank you so very much for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
Hello, and welcome back. We hope you enjoyed that quick little ad break, and we are going to get right on into it with the next episode of the group, episode 27, Centiperas' Monster School, also known as Mukadella's Monster Classroom. Mukadella's, huh? Yeah. The Japanese being Mukadelasu Kaijin Shoshitsu. We've changed months. Air date for this episode, October 2nd, 1971.
Spooky
No,
scary.
it's October. It's October.
In
I
1971.
wish.
Yeah, we're gonna be wrapping up on this year here sooner rather than later.
Pretty exciting.
We've almost done it. We're almost through our whole first year of Kamen Rider.
Hell yeah.
That'll be something to celebrate, I think, once we finally get there. But yeah, let's get right into it. This is another one that has a short synopsis, but not much more. Just says Centiperas captures bright school children, recruiting them into Junior Shocker. Hayato tries to save them, only to run into a resurrected Saracenian and Geba Condor. So yeah, I mean, let's just get right into it. So we start as we mentioned previously with a group of kids, and they are out here in this backlot or wherever it is that they are, and they are playing Kamen Rider, and it's great. I particularly like the kid who has got the little like cutout Kamen Rider face mask that they have definitely been like, if not selling, then like giving away at like Kamen Rider events. I imagine this might be at a point where potentially they are maybe even doing Kamen Rider live shows. So they're probably giving them away at those, like, for sure.
That'd be awesome.
God,
Is
I want to
that
go
a
see
thing?
one of those shows. Yes, you didn't know about those, Gova?
What? No, I didn't.
Yes,
Oh.
yeah. During
Yeah.
So while a season of Kamen Rider or, like, Sentai is airing, what they'll also do is they'll have, like, a live stage show that you can go see.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. To my understanding, they will like travel around to like different like, you know, places where you can hold that sort of thing throughout Japan, but they'll also sometimes have some bigger productions at bigger locations. There's specifically a place called Tokyo Dome City, where they will perform a lot of times, and it's I've only seen like clips from some, but every clip I've ever seen always rules.
It's definitely something also depicted in a few animes, and this format comes with its own tropes. Like there's usually just an announcer constantly narrating what is happening and urging the audience to participate in cheering on the Kamen Rider and giving him their strength instead, or whatever hero you want to insert. But and it's genius because in the end, it's pro wrestling.
Yeah,
they had it built in really to do this live. They just do it a little more careful, but otherwise, it's a house show in pro wrestling.
$15,000 on the Patreon, and we'll review a live show.
If you can find one.
That's a lot more. Go for it. I want to review a live show.
Yeah, I think you should turn that into a reasonable amount. We fly over to
Japan.
we go and do. Okay, now, all right,
go in
that's
person,
fair.
get the whole experience.
Okay, now it makes more sense to make that 15. Can we knock it down a little bit more though? I'll try to cover as much of the expenses. I just really want to go see what
7,000, 5,000.
Honestly,
I don't know how much plane fares are.
I was gonna say, if we're being quite reasonable, a plane ticket to Japan wouldn't be quite that much.
Depends on the time of year too, though.
Yeah,
and lodging,
and also the tickets.
I mean, I imagine depending on what like version of the event we're going to, the tickets wouldn't probably be that bad. I imagine if we go to the one that's in Tokyo Dome City, that's going to be guy in there. Yeah, that's that primo shit. But that's because that's the one where you can also get your picture taken with like Red Ranger or Kamen Rider or whatever the fuck. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Please give us $5,000.
Yeah, please give us onegaishimasu.
I also want this, but
we'll go to
I
Tokyo
want to get my picture taken
in like
with
a
Red
few
Ranger
years.
so bad.
Get our picture taken with the Kamen Rider.
I just wish you could choose who you got your picture taken with. It's always like the current Kamen Rider or Red Ranger. I wish I could roll up and be like, all right, but actually,
give me some Hayato.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let me get my picture taken with Kamen Rider Black.
Ooh,
that's what I figured. Yeah.
Damn.
I love his look. He's so cool. Kamen Rider Black is so
Bring
cool.
the costume out from the back, please.
Oh, yeah, please. Onegaishimasu. Anyway, this kid's got his paper Kamen Rider mask. He has his bike, which he has decked out to look like the Cyclone 1. He's got like some cardboard boxes he's put on it and some streamers. He is ready. He is here and he is ready to play as Kamen Rider, and I appreciate that. And also having to say Cyclone 1, because I think this is the first time we have ever actually mentioned that Kamen Rider's bike has a name, and it's Cyclone 1, reminded me of something. I got to unearth, because of the move, my Kamen Rider figurine.
Hey!
Pictures.
I will certainly send pictures. It turns out I actually had the Kamen Rider V2 figurine the whole time.
Wow!
Post that on Twitter, please, on the official Twitter.
I will absolutely make sure I take a picture of that and post it for y'all.
Oh, man.
I'm very excited.
But yeah, so we've got some kids. We've got this kid. He's all dressed up as Kamen Rider. He's got his little red scarf and his paper mask. We've got
the scarf is
three
a
other
great
kids who have painted up their faces so that they could be shocker mooks, and we're doing it. I love the kid even in like a very Kamen Rider fashion. Actually, I really appreciated this. Like one of the shocker mook kids attacks him. He like whips him into like because they're on like a they're up on like a slide, right? And so you know how slide, it's got like the walk up, and then there's the metal bars surrounding it so that way you don't fall off, and then the actual slide part. So this kid, shocker mook kid, goes to attack him. He whips the other kid into like one of the iron bars, and the other kid just like stays draped over the bar. Which is something the fucking Shocker
Commitment.
Mook would have absolutely done that. And then right after he does that, the Kamen Rider kid hits a rider fight. It's great.
I have a lot of questions about this sequence. One big one. How the hell do these kids know about Kamen Rider?
That is a good question.
And
specifically
Shocker!
By merit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shocker's not common knowledge.
I don't know. I almost feel like this kind of leads credence to the idea that we had kind of poked at previously a few times of that, like, maybe Kamen Rider, the show Kamen Rider is supposed to take place in our real universe. Right? Because we talk about, like, some of the continuity stuff about, like, making sure that dates match up, and things like that. So maybe it is supposed to be that, like, these kids are less like kids in the show and more just like actual real life kids that were, playing Kamen Rider, as I'm sure there were many legitimate children doing back in the 70s. I'm not 100% sure, because if we were going purely by the logic of the show, it definitely does not make any sense for them to know who Kamen Rider is.
Why
or
there's
who Shocker
merch?
is.
Why he has a Kamen Rider
Right.
mask? He knows what the bike is called.
Like,
It's-
he knows the henshin.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, he does the pose exactly, right? Like the only two explanations I can think of for all of this are either A, these are supposed to be like, an approximation of real world children, because like the idea is that Kamen Rider is like supposed to be happening in the real world, or B, these are all just a bunch of kids who've been like kidnapped by Shocker before or something, and so they remember, and they're like, "Damn, Kamen Rider rules." Which, to be fair, would be also my response if a cyborg karate bug man rescued me from Nazis. But
and also there was the bunch of kids that were rescued in the earlier episode, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Are these just the same kids?
And also
Maybe.
those random kids from that mountain.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And those
Children.
random kids from the Candy Bubbler episode. Lots of random kids.
They have all
Maybe
collaborated.
Maybe
A
he's
child
become-
network.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely very interesting. The Kamen Rider is real pull is the only one I can really think of that makes sense, especially because it is then, and this is getting literally years ahead of us at this point. But the concept that either Kamen Rider is real or that Kamen Rider is a real show is referenced in later seasons of Kamen Rider. Oz and Forze specifically. I won't go into too much more detail than that, but
I guess
they are brought up.
I guess in theory, someone out there also could have seen Kamen Rider and either totally believed it or at least thought that's sensational enough where I'm going to make my own television show in universe.
Right. Yeah.
Around
exactly.
the Kamen Rider. And the kids just know that and know that he's kind of real, and they fully believe that he's real because they're children.
Right, of course. And I could
Based
also
on
see
true
that
story.
being a right, exactly right. Like the TV show has like a based on a true story thing to it. So there are a lot of people who are like, hey, I hear that, that Kamen Rider show is actually based on a guy, and someone's like, what? No way. You think there's some cyborg man out there keeping us safe from Shocker? I don't know. Sometimes the evidence seems pretty strong. What about that explosion in Hokkaido last week or whatever? And, so there are some people who believe it. There are some people who are skeptical. There are some people who are like, who knows, maybe? It'd be interesting. It's one of those, it's another one of those weird unexplored things in this show that probably comes from just them wanting to write an episode a specific way, but that could give away to some very interesting world building. Because it's definitely one of those they do tend to play around a little bit more in like future series with like how known is the Kamen Rider. And a lot of times they usually kind of tend to get around that that particular hurdle of like, oh, okay, well, no one really knows who Kamen Rider is. No one really knows what Kamen Rider is. No one's really 100% sure what's going on. But, whenever there's usually like a big fight scene or, whenever something is happening with a bad guy, obviously people would be naturally panicking and running away anyway. So usually when Kamen Rider and some of the other heroes arrive on the scene, like the first thing they'll start doing is they'll start escorting people out of there. Or like they'll have like one of their helper characters that maybe can't transform. They'll be like, you go, make sure everybody gets out safe and I'm going to go do the shit I do. But, with this particular series, having that sort of be a thing a little bit less often, it'd be interesting to see if they... actually, now I'm thinking about it, what would really be interesting to see, because I haven't gotten to that. No, I don't think I've gotten to this point yet. I'd like to see how Kamen Rider Spirits tackles this sort of thing.
Ooh, right.
Yeah, I don't know. I think outside of any... I think out of any sort of, like, meta approach or anything, my first assumption would be that Kamen Rider is a popular urban legend, given that he does do basically everything in public anyway. I wouldn't be surprised if, this is the 70s, before everybody had a camera and a recording device in their pocket at all times. There's plenty of room for both belief and disbelief, and just saying, I just saw a big karate bug man fighting a dude in the park.
Right, kind of a Sasquatch sort of thing where, maybe there are some people with some blurry, poorly taken photos, and some people are like, oh, wow, that's proof that Kamen Rider is real, and other people are like, nah, I'm gonna need a little more than that.
Yeah.
I will say that is, specifically in, just since I mentioned earlier, in Kamen Rider Forze, that is kind of sort of the context in which Kamen Rider being real is, like, presented. They like, even make a point to explicitly show, like, there's, like, footage of, like, OG Kamen Rider doing the thing, but it's, like, really grainy and, like, clearly very old footage, too, so it's definitely kind of one of those things where it's like, there are people who thought Kamen Rider was just an urban legend, but like it turns out maybe it's actually real.
Yeah. And like, speaking of Kamen Rider Spirits, they've sort of touched on this a little bit in regards to, they very early on had a bunch of survivors of Shocker stuff talk about how, like, various authorities don't believe them. And there are probably plenty of people just talking to people they know or trust about their experiences with Kamen Rider. Like, as a little kid, my first gut reaction, being saved from a weird organization kidnapping me by a guy who literally came in dressed head to toe in karate bug man attire, kicking butt, and then kindly taking me home and introducing himself to me as Kamen Rider, I'd think, wow, that's a superhero. This guy is so cool. And I'd want to tell all my friends about it.
For sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, that would definitely, child brain is just immediately like, oh, cool, I just met, like, a superhero. I'm going to go tell all my friends that I met a superhero, like an actual real life superhero too. Because, with this being the 70s and everything, and kind of superhero culture kind of starting to be on a rise of sorts, I would imagine, at least. I don't know how much that might have been the case. I guess it must have been, because, we got Kamen Rider. So, at a point in time where it would not be unlikely for all of the, kids to be reading, superhero comics and watching superhero TV shows and stuff anyway, getting a chance to meet a real life superhero like that, you would be bragging to all of your friends as a little kid at that point in time. So it definitely makes sense.
In fairness, I would not believe that kid if the Kamen Rider was like, if they said the Kamen Rider, like, kindly took them home. We saw last episode, or like an episode or two. Or is it this episode?
Well, it's this episode, yeah. I was going to say, he gives...
This episode...
Kamen Rider's not so great about making sure kids get a ride.
Spoiler
There's only
alert.
one spot on the bike.
They just leave the kids.
They've only got two. They are two dudes with motorcycles. They've only got so much space. They're waiting for Tachibana to show up with the van.
Yeah, because that goes
Or
so
just
well
a
for them.
minute
Speaking of Vans,
Yeah, I
that
was
goes
gonna
really
say.
well for the kids.
So the kids are playing Kamen Rider, and they get stopped by a suspicious man who says, "Boy, so you kids like that is." Before we get into this man has no reason to stop these children, and none of them take that as a red flag.
It's just a guy.
He isn't like, hey, this is private property. He isn't like, hey, you almost just hit me. He isn't like, hey, you shouldn't go down that way. It's muddy. You might hurt yourself. Or like it's a steep hill or whatever. He literally just steps out and says, stop. So y'all like Kamen Rider?
Yeah.
And none of them are. I just don't. I understand because we're about to get into it. That the reasoning skills of these kids are not stellar, nor should I expect it to be. But also, I feel like it is not unreasonable to expect it to be high enough to not start a conversation with a strange man that walks out of a bush who stops you for literally no reason.
I mean, unfortunately, I just think what is considered very common sense now just wasn't really the case decades ago. I think that's why it became such a big PSA within even our own lifetimes.
This episode very clearly does have like strong, like, don't talk to strangers, this is how you get kidnapped PSA kind of vibes to it. So that definitely makes sense. This is very much so kind of like early attempts to start to teach children what kind of behavior to look out for. And I guess that's kind of why it's so wild to me as, someone who did grow up with all of that, just like constant, like, look out for strangers, stranger danger, stranger safety, here's what to do, have a safe word, carry a whistle, all that jazz. Because when go ahead, B.
Oh, yeah, but yeah, as you said, like there was that's just how things are today, but there was a time then that wasn't the case. There was a time when children weren't told that strangers were bad. There was a time when children were told that respecting adults was first and foremost the rule, rather than only your parents, only talk to people you know to. There was you would listen to any adult that would tell you what to do because they know better. And in a small defense for these children, I kind of feel like it's a little easier to regard this behavior as strange from an adult's perspective regarding this man just showing up out of nowhere, because like as a child, I don't really think a lot of children have a great grasp of what is weird behavior for adults. Yeah. So, like, fair. As a child, my thought would be, people come here to play, we're playing Kamen Rider, and if someone approached me and said, hey, you like Kamen Rider, my first thought would be, they heard us playing Kamen Rider and want to play Kamen Rider with us. Yeah.
No, that's entirely fair, but yeah, like you said, kind of from an outside looking in perspective, like this whole setup is so incredibly whack.
It's like, so smelly, and it's not the kind of thing you can even put in a kids show nowadays, just because, like, not only is it a little scary of a scenario for children these days, but frankly, it's almost hard for me to imagine that being in a modern cartoon. Like, you see kids in cartoons still getting kidnapped these days by, like, villains, but you don't see them disguised as adults and telling them to get in my van.
Yeah, no, that shit would not fly.
Because that is too much of a realistic, dangerous thing that happens to children in real life, and I think that's just... it's... I don't know what even to compare it to. Almost like depicting children in children's shows playing with, like, real weapons or something. Like, it's too much of, like, socially, culturally ingrained common sense not to do this is bad, dangerous, that we don't even want to show this to kids out of fear that it is both not entertaining and too scary.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like this whole sequence is like fucking textbook.
Yeah.
Like if you've seen a Stranger Danger PSA, like
this is
this
all
is
of
it.
like literally all of it. Yeah.
The guy goes, "Hey kids, you like this thing? Yeah, we love this thing. I got this thing. Let's go show you. Get in my van." Like he just straight up has the van and has them all get in it. I'm gonna show you Kamen Rider.
Yeah, come get in my van. I'll take you to where Kamen Rider is. We're gonna have a good time. I do appreciate the kid who is the Kamen Rider though, and I think maybe it is because of him that I made my statement about like this guy not having any kind of a reason to stop the kids.
Yeah,
because this is a kid who is a cut above just a little bit, right? This guy is like, I know Kamen Rider, get in my van and I'll take you to Kamen Rider. And this kid is immediately like, I don't know, that seems a little suspicious. He does end up going with the rest of the kids anyway, because all the other kids are like, I'm alright, fuck you, I'm gonna go see Kamen Rider. And, you know, if you're a kid and you're put in that situation, you're immediately also gonna be like, what? No, I also want to see the Kamen Rider. Fuck you. Mm-hmm. So he obviously goes with, but he's, not only is he hesitant initially, but then also during the car ride, he is asking a bunch of questions about like, do you really know Kamen Rider? How far away is Kamen Rider? When do we get to see the Kamen Rider? So I feel like you give this kid like 2 more years and he would have just been like, nah, not even a little bit. Like as soon as this guy showed up, and he would have been, you know, gathered up the other kids and been like, let's go. This guy's not cool. But unfortunately that would not serve our plot very well. So instead what happens is all of the kids go ahead and they hop in the van because they're going to go see Kamen Rider. Like I said, this kid is just asking questions until finally he goes, the guy goes, if you want to see Kamen Rider, he's in the back seat. Go look in the back seat. And when they go to look at the back seat, it's not Kamen Rider. It's our villain for this episode, Centiperas, and his big crusty ass thumbs.
Those horrible crusty thumbs.
I hate it.
So I want to ask the audience, if you didn't watch the episode, what kind of superpowers do you consider a centipede to have?
Vote now on your phones.
What would they have? I don't know, like venom, right? Centipedes are venomous, right? Or are they poisonous?
They're venomous or poisonous. It's one
they
of those
be both. Two. I don't think you can eat a centipede.
So centipedes actually have modified legs that they use as fangs, called toxicognaths.
Okay.
And they're really cool.
Yeah. So that's something, right?
I'm going to go with the slightly more obscure pull, although Gopher will get this one because I believe they watched this film with us. But in the 5 Deadly Venoms, the Shaw Brothers martial arts movie, the centipede style is known for its incredible speed. It is also known as the style of 1,000 strikes. So maybe they've got like super speed, or they can like punch really fast or something.
That too. Anything smaller than a centipede is probably not going to survive a centipede.
This is true.
Like, I was watching a video on, like, keeping a pet giant centipede, and they compared it to, like, if this centipede had the same abilities, but your sizes were swapped, there is no way you could escape the centipede.
Oh, wow.
So, like...
That means Centiperas must be really dangerous. He's probably super strong, right, Shakes?
Yeah, probably got some, like, venom and probably super fast. Anyways, Centiperas mind controls people.
Like an idiot.
With his thumbs.
With his thumbs.
Makes no...
His freaking incense-looking thumbs.
It doesn't make any fucking sense. I understand why they wanted a brainwashing villain. That one's easy. Why did they make him a centipede?
Make him a squid. You cowards.
Make him a squid!
Or like a toad.
Or like those butterflies that like have faces on their wings to distract their opponents.
All right, hear me out.
Even a zebra?
Hear me out. I'm picturing a yellow suit.
Okay.
With some fur trim.
P.O., you getting all this?
You make him look like a tapir.
Oh, there you go.
And you give him a little pendant.
Straight up, fucking straight up drowsy shit.
You could do that because this is the 70s.
And then you call him Barrel.
That look would...
And he headbutts your enemies.
Yeah, and then he headbutts the Kamen Rider and kills him instantly.
And then he dies.
And then he dies to hyperfang.
But it's the 70s. You could do that and it wouldn't raise any questions. They'd be like, wow, such a unique design.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm saying Hypno from Pokemon kind of is designed like a Kamen Rider villain in retrospect.
A little bit, yeah. Actually.
Yeah.
That looks
Drowsy
like
a little bit, but Hypno way more. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, actually, damn, yeah. Damn, you right. Wow, yeah. I never really thought of it until now, but yeah, Hypno absolutely looks like a Shocker Kaijin. Like, all he's missing is the belt.
Yeah.
Wow. Can't believe Hypno is a fascist.
I know.
You can't.
Yeah, I was gonna say honestly.
He's the guy leading all the kids in the van.
Yeah.
Oh,
the point is, this is just such a weird pick for this. Oh God, you know what? Actually, also on that butterfly pull, they could have done like a peacock and done like the same thing.
Oh man. That would have been scary.
Good aesthetics.
Too.
Yeah, it would have been great aesthetics on that.
Because, here's an off-tangent story that would have made it extra specifically effective for me.
Here's what
is that, when I was 6, I was at a zoo.
Mm-hmm. Like you do.
I got mesmerized by a peacock, and I didn't see my family walk away. And then I just was looking at it. I kept looking at it, and then it did its screech and extended its feathers, and it scared me so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and I looked around, and my family wasn't there, and I'm like, "Damn! If you could have replicated that fear in Meet Kamen Rider, that would have been amazing."
But instead, you gave a centipede man crusty ass thumbs
and a smoker's laugh.
Yeah, and the smoker's. Wait.
He's got my favorite laugh thus far. And I don't know if I mean that unironically, because it is easily the worst laugh in the whole series so far. I
think I
kind of love it.
It's kind of the funniest laugh.
It's definitely the funniest laugh. I think if we are going for ironics, Fue is my favorite, because I think unironically my favorite laugh in the series might actually go to Antlion.
Really?
Antlion had a good laugh.
I vaguely remember us saying hey, that's all right.
Yeah. Antlion has a good laugh and a good suit, and then you get his face. But yeah, so Krusty Thumbs McGee hits him with the Hypno Beam. Do we go straight back to the base, or where do we go? Hold on, I have to go through my little synopsis here. Oh, right, he gets a phone call. That's right, he starts hypnotizing the kids, and then he gets a fucking phone call from Zol. Yeah.
From the desk of Colonel Zol, his horrible, horrible desk. It is here to stay.
I'm imagining the stationery.
Right. I don't know why, but for some reason from the desk of Colonel Zol just made me see the scene of Zol there again, but just as a secretary for someone else. Zol's office, please hold. Zol's office, please hold. Yes, Mr. Centiperas? Well, we can probably pencil you in for Thursday. 3:30? Okay. We'll see you then. Thank you very much, sir. You have a great day. Zol's office, how can I help you?
You know, I think before we get too far, it's also worth noting the costume. Because besides the crusty thumbs, it's pretty good.
It's okay.
Except the mouth and eyes. Because the mouth just has, like, instead of, like, actually a hole, it's just, like, black paint.
I think it's because where it is, you would simply see the human's chin underneath the person, you know, the actor. So I think that's unfortunately necessary based on the mask design, unless they wanted to give him a big tube mouth.
Big tube mouth?
Which...
See, this is the big problem with when you try to look up old Shocker Kaijins.
Yeah.
Is that they are very incredibly willing to recreate like monsters in other series that use the same animal, like use the same animal base, so you couldn't look up like just Kamen Rider Centipede, or else you'd get a bunch of different results.
That's why you look up Centiperas. Yeah, there he is.
Yeah, but then you only get like one or two.
Mucadelas?
And even then there's still... Yeah, oh, you know what? Good point. Let's try Mucadelas.
Yeah, that face sure was something. I'm reminding
That's
myself now.
Yeah.
I think it's
like,
okay.
It's almost really, really good, but there's a few details
honestly,
that push it back, I think.
His costume as a whole feels kind of unremarkable to me. Maybe it's the coloring specifically, but there's just something about this one
very beige.
That's just like, incredibly beige.
Which
I don't know. I need a little more. You know what I mean? Need a little more pop, a little more pow.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Because with this,
I hate. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say with this the way it is, it's like it's not bad. It does kind of look like a centipede, but it's just bland.
Yeah, I was just gonna say in the next scene we get a camera full of booty of the centipede, and I hate that.
That's rough.
Yes.
He really does slide in and takes up half the screen.
Yeah.
But just before that, in the scene with Colonel Zol at his desk, he is calling Centiperas to inform him that the computer has chosen the next child for his monster school, and directs him to the home of Namie.
You know, the computer?
The computer.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You know, the computer.
I feel like they mentioned a computer at least once.
I mean, they did, when they were doing the
when they looked for Soccer Man.
Yeah, when they looked for, when they looked for Soccer Man, and also when they looked for Devilsaurus.
Yeah.
They just have a computer.
Yeah. I don't know. There's something about the computer that I'm like, oh yeah, real cool. Thanks.
I love the phrase "the computer" very much.
The computer.
But yes, this transitions into the scene where we get a view of a lovely home, and we see Centiperas just kind of schmoove on in, both cheeks on screen.
I hate it.
Double cheeked up. Thursday afternoon.
Bit. Yeah, that costume's a little cinched up there.
Just...
It's
got a belt for some reason, wearing it backwards.
Why are you wearing your
belt
belt
he's
backwards?
Always wearing the belt, though. I mean,
to be fair, he's a Shocker Kaijin,
Yeah, but, like, is this one particularly backwards, or is it...
No, they're all like that, because they have the big decoration on the front, so...
Yeah. I guess that's fair,
You don't remember the Shocker title belts they all wear?
I mean, I do, I just, for some reason, was blanking on it.
But yeah, so we are we're going into the house to pick up Nami. Did we specifically mention Nami's relation?
No,
that
that's
is going
next
to be referenced
scene.
more in this episode. Well,
Yeah.
it is mentioned in this scene as well.
Oh yeah.
But
She does have a
she
little
is
note.
Goro's rival.
Yes. So this girl Nami, she goes to school with Goro as well, and we kind of learned that in she's takes a brief reprieve as she's studying, and she goes, "I wonder if Goro is studying hard right now too. I got to work hard if I want to be able to beat him." And she kind of renews her resolve and goes back to studying, and then she gets movemented on by the centipede, which I don't know how to feel about the fact that he does not even remotely try to hypnotize her.
He does.
Does he? I just remember him kind of walking up and grabbing her.
No, yeah, he
mean,
does the
yeah.
he does the deal and basically just knocks her out, I think. With it.
No, she just. I think he just picks her up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure he
But
just
also, like,
walks up
he's
and goes
not-
scoops.
he's a Nazi cyborg, so, like, I can assume that if a
I could have
or if a centipede man showed up at my window and I was 5 years old,
I don't know if she's that young.
I don't know how old she is, 10.
probably about at least 10.
Yeah, that's what I imagine.
But my point is, I could be paralyzed in fear, and then a cyborg with cyborg strength would probably just be able to, like, pick up.
Oh yeah, I'm certainly not saying that he wouldn't have the ability to. I just don't know how to feel about the fact that, like, he doesn't seem to even try to use his hypnosis powers. He's just like, grab.
Yeah.
I could have sworn, like, he does this whole thing at the beginning.
No, he just kind of
Not
menaces for a second outside of her
Yeah,
window.
I guess I'm reviewing it. I
Yeah.
just figured the
Yeah,
implication was that he was like, whoa, with the powers, and then
Oh,
zip.
Yeah, she stands up
That's-
startled. Yep, he just grabs her. Bye.
Yeah, he
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
Also, I'd be remiss if I don't mention the panda plushie in the background.
that's very cute.
It's very, very good.
It's wonderful.
But yeah, so she gets kidnapped, and then we transition immediately into our next scene, which has our good friend Goro, but he doesn't look like he's in such a great mood, and he's hanging out at the Moto Club with we also have Tachibana is here, and who is that? Is that Mari or Yuri? That looks like
That's
Yuri, but I thought it was
and
Mari.
we have Taki as well.
Yes, yeah, Taki shows up, and I believe he asks Goro about why he's so why is he so down in the dumps?
Why are you so angry?
Why are you so angry, Goro? And Goro does not take lightly to being interrogated by this FBI man. He is not in the mood for Taki and his antics, as is also made more evident when he tries to leave the room and accidentally runs into Hayato. And Hayato's like, whoa, little guy, be careful. And Goro
Gives him the death stare.
the death stare and then the toe stomp.
Yeah.
Like,
Just-
It's
Makito toe stomps, just destroying that man's toes.
yeah, really.
If only he weren't a cyborg freak, he might have felt something.
He sells it, though.
He does.
He does.
He's just like, ow, fuck. Like, you little shit. I still
Like,
feel
damn, bro,
pain.
what the hell?
you.
You can't hurt me, but I still feel it.
It's just emotional now.
Yeah, you hurt my feelings more importantly than my actual toes, Goro. What the shit? But yeah, so, obviously now the question on the minds of the people in the room are, well, what's got Goro like this? Why is Goro all in a tizzy? And Tachibana and Yuri explain that Nami, his friend from school, did not show up to school today, and Goro is clearly none too thrilled about it. When Hayato, quick as a whip as always, draws a connection with a newspaper article that he was bringing in with him that mentions the disappearance of a number of highly intelligent children.
If they're highly intelligent, how'd they get that first set?
Well, to be fair,
I'm just
highly intelligent as in test scores are good.
Yeah, they got good grades.
Just because you're smart doesn't mean you have common sense.
It feels like those first kids did they also have good grades and just happened to also be into Kamen Rider, so they had an in, or did they just pick those ones up just for fun?
They don't really go over it. I have to assume
because they're not important.
Yeah.
I mean, they show up.
I feel like when they're talking about the plan later, they specify that they are specifically looking for high intelligence children, so one would have to assume that their test scores had to be pretty good.
Yeah, the group was probably targeted.
They
Yeah.
just, they assume that everyone who likes Kamen Rider is smart.
Well, because it's a smart thing to write Kamen Rider. Weird requirement, but okay. I just don't understand how you would, is there a measurement that you have to send it?
Jeez.
Anyway. So we cut to, we cut straight to Goro at Nami's house, right?
No, we go to Shocker Base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. Yes. So we go to Shocker Base where we are explaining the plan now. And the plan is that with these kids, we are going to start Junior Shocker, the Shocker Kids division.
The Shocker Youth.
Yeah, the Shocker Youth. So that we can take over the world with kids.
Of course.
What is the plan here? I'm still not 100% sure.
Shocker took it literally when they heard the phrase "children are our future."
I
want to believe. Oh, go ahead.
I believe they said their intention was to groom them into potential Shocker leaders for the future.
Yeah, but I remember them saying like they were going to be the leaders of Junior Shocker.
Yeah, they do specify Junior Shocker leaders.
So it seemed like they were gonna it seemed like they were all in on this Shocker Kids plan for whatever reason. I just don't understand why.
The demographics.
I can only assume because it's difficult for most people to justify taking down children.
Yeah.
If a kid comes at you with a gun, you're far less likely to attack them than to try to reason with them.
Yeah,
that's fair. Later on, they do specify that, we're going to have these kids do all of these horrible things and no one will suspect that it's the children.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think, an infiltration ploy.
That's fair.
With a dose of also, they'll have years of training as they grow into adults and then become commanders or whatever.
That makes a little more sense. Maybe that part of the plan just wasn't quite vocalized well.
You know what is important?
Tell us what is important.
The little kids do the eek.
Yes, they do.
They do little baby eek. Delightful.
And it's very good. I mean, it is as good as brainwashing children into be fascist can be.
So not.
They made it so palatable. Palatable, whatever. I always fuck that up. Anyway.
So Commander Zol sends the Shocker Youth off to get more training, but one of them, our newest recruit, Nami, stays because she's got a candidate in mind. She says, Commander Zol, I know someone who would be a very good Junior Shocker leader. His name is Goro. You should go get at that. And Commander Zol's like, all right, a go-getter. So now the plan is we're going to go pick us up at Goro. And I believe now is when we cut to Goro at Nami's house.
Yeah. And she's not there either.
Nope.
But you know where she is? In the passenger seat of the van, shouting at Goro.
Yes. So Goro sees her as she is hanging out of the passenger side of her best friend's ride, trying to holler at he. But He does seem to be the type that does, in fact. He will tolerate a scrub. So
I
off he
don't
goes.
like this implication that Nami is a scrub. Hey.
That's fair. Nami is probably not a scrub.
If she hangs
But you
out with
cannot
Goro,
deny.
she's gotta be alright, right?
Yeah, no, that's fair. Girl wouldn't tolerate a scrub. But so Goro goes chasing after Nami in the van. Obviously, after a while, he starts getting outpaced because it is a car and he is a boy. But it is okay because there's a nearby taxi that'll just pick him up.
The layers of this plan on Shocker's end are very funny to me because they make no effort to stop and pick the guy up, right?
Nope.
Right?
And it's very lucky that he found a taxi.
It's incredibly lucky that he found that taxi, or else there's
That
no
taxi.
way.
Yeah, that.
Well, on Goro's end, that taxi specifically. Yeah.
Yeah.
On Shocker's end, a ride at all.
Yeah, any kind of ride.
I wonder if they just expected him to chase the van the whole
On
way.
foot the
for
whole
some
way?
reason.
Maybe it was
I
like
don't know.
an initiation. If you can't chase the van, then
Yeah, they were
You
doing
don't
they were
count.
doing the fucking
Oh.
punch out training, but advanced. Dun. Shocker stole my girl. Shocker stole
and
my girl.
They didn't steal the bike though.
Nope, they left the
But
bike.
There was a point where the parents come back for the kids and they're like, and the bike is just sitting there.
Yeah, that's like right after the kids get into the van. Yeah, the gambit of moms appears.
A whole roster.
Yeah, really, collect them all. But yeah, so Goro hops into this taxi and says, "I'll pay you later, but follow that van." And so follow that van we do into an abandoned lot where Goro tries to go see his friend Nami. But who would appear before him than old Centiperas? He's here. He's gonna do the thing. Oh no, Goro, look out. But he's rescued by the taxi driver. Well, that's no taxi driver. That's Taki. Oh no.
Somehow, yes. The taxi that just happened to be driving by that picked up Goro when he needed a ride to chase after the Shocker people was just driven by Taki.
Yep. It was all an elaborate ruse, I guess.
Taki is looking good in this episode. though.
This was a good
It
look for
does.
Taki, honestly. The
Like-
the all blue suit, the white gloves, it was good shit.
Sneakers.
I think they do be just
You gotta,
sneakers,
you gotta stay
But,
comfy, okay? He's working.
Yeah, he's got a bust ass.
The thing I like about the jacket though is the red underlining. It's,
It's
a real nice
good.
touch. Oof.
Yeah, so Taki fights off Centiperas and some Shocker goons. Goro goes to hide so that way he is not abducted by Shocker, but unfortunately he does end up still being picked up by the Centiperas because while Taki is good, he is not fighting a cyborg good, but you know who is fighting a cyborg good? Our boy
Our very
Hayato.
own.
Oh, also that
Yes, our own cyborg. Who are you gonna say, Gopher?
Goro.
You know, give him a couple of years.
Yeah, not this time.
Yeah, I don't know about just yet. He's just a little guy, and it's
He
his
didn't.
birthday.
He didn't
He's a
do the
little birthday
ground.
boy.
He wasn't able to pull off the ground and pound like that other.
Yeah, he didn't get the Fez press on him.
Resurrect. Let's go
He
Christmas
does probably
story.
just like pass out of fear because he yells for help and that just goes limp.
Yeah, but luckily Hayato shows up to try and save the day. I feel like there's some banter about the plan, but I don't remember exactly. I don't know if anyone has any memory of that.
They do say the plan. We used him as bait to destroy Shocker's enemies.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, because they're like, we know that wherever this little boy goes, Kamen Rider isn't far behind. So we knew that if we tried to kidnap this kid, you'd show up. So, of course, now it is time for Centiperas and Kamen Rider to fight. But first, Centiperas hits him with the brain-melting beam. I guess that's one way to put it.
I mean, that's literally what he says it does. He says my brain melting radio waves or something like that.
Yeah, and sure enough, even Hayato's like, my brain cells. Those are valuable. You need those.
Bubbling.
So he takes out his thumbs and he melts out his brain, but
not before hip checking Goro into a bush.
But this is why Shocker continually fails, though. You have someone, we've just established that your powers can affect Hayato.
Mm-hmm.
And your powers are brainwashing.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't attempt to use that on Hayato?
This is fair. But also, I do kind of understand where Shocker's position is. At this point, I don't know if I would want to try and have to re-Shockerify this dude. I think I'd just want his ass dead.
I mean, it'd be a lot easier to do if you hypnotized him, though.
Yeah. Hypnotize him, make him walk into a lake.
Here's my theory on that. Is that... So this guy hit him with the brain melting, right?
Yeah.
And while it did affect Hayato, it seemed to only do as much as give him a headache for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
In theory, I'd think the brain melting ray would just kill a human.
Right.
And Hayato's just like, ow, that sucked. I'm a little stunned, but I'm still otherwise completely okay for the rest of the episode.
Yeah, I'm good enough to transform and go bust ass.
So my thought is that the brainwashing element of that, so that's like his powers cranked up to 100, just complete overload. I feel like the brainwashing's probably something with more finesse to it. It's a lighter thing. You use it on weak-minded people or weakened people, and then you can do that.
That's fair.
So they would really have to get Kamen Rider down, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't bring him in when they drugged him that one time with the centipede with the mushroom, but that's a whole different plan.
Because he wasn't built yet.
Yeah. They should really build these guys in tandem. They could use some really good synergy with each other, honestly.
Right.
We get a little bit of that.
We do.
A little, sort of. Yeah. not to jump that
They're
gun.
learning.
I mean, that gun was jumped by the synopsis, as it were, anyway. But we'll get there.
Was it? I've spaced out on that part. Yeah, that's weird. But not
these
unheard
synopses
of.
are... To be fair, these are 1 to 2 sentences that are supposed to be explaining an entire episode, so it makes sense.
It's the thing below the video, basically.
Basically. But yes, so he hits him with the brain melting beam. He picks up Goro. He goes upon his merry way. Hayato transforms, and he goes and rescues Taki from the throes of dangerous engagement with Shocker grunts. And I believe they both... I mean,
in a really good sequence. No, I'm not laughing at that, because we've proven that Shocker grunts against normal humans eventually might get the upper hand. Taki can usually handle himself, but if he's fighting enough of them, the numbers game.
Yeah, by himself eventually, yeah.
Kamen Rider enters the scene where we just get this vroom, and then a Shocker grunt just goes bah, and gets hit by something on the right, and then we whip pan over, and it's Kamen Rider on his bike like he just ran the dude. Fuck off.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's really good.
Sup, Taki? Get on.
So yeah, Taki hops on the bike, and they go to make chase after the Centiperas when they are stopped by, why, up in the sky, what is that? Good lord, it's the Gemma Condor.
What?
He's back. Baka!
Big Pop, Kamen Condor returns to action after 20 episodes of being exploded. Oh no,
Condor with the steel chair.
Yeah. What is he doing?
God, yeah. Yeah, Gabba Condor was. I think Gabba Condor was actually episode 12. So yeah,
he was in the last Hongo episode because like they revived everybody.
Oh yeah, so that would have been episode 13.
So it's established. They can just do this.
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of nice to see them actually implement it again for something that isn't like a boss rush showdown.
Yeah.
Though it does also make it a little arbitrary.
It's I don't know. The choices are interesting. Gabba Condor as a generic mook to run interference for a more mental based monster makes sense, because Gabba Condor was always just sort of a beast. They just sort of made him to be strong. I don't know about Saracenian. Didn't he have an actual plan? He just dug that suit out of storage.
Maybe he's just supposed to have the mid-range covered.
Yeah, he's got the whips. You're right. Like that is pretty good.
This is what I was saying last time, though. Is just I was thinking that the cyber mooks would be a much better use of the time than the shocker mooks, like the generic ones.
I feel like,
and I was right. Like, it's better.
Yeah, it is better. Here's the thing. I feel like, one, it is probably way more expensive and difficult to churn out a cyborg mook, as it were, versus a shocker mook, like a shocker grunt. And then two, if you are mookifying your cyborgs, you know, your kaijin, then you also have less effective. Like the return on investment there can't be worth it. Right, because you get a Gabba Condor that is not as good as the original Gabba Condor, which is like, cool, that's great, because it's a Gabba Condor, which means it's better than like your average shocker grunt, but probably not by enough to be worth the fact that, like, one, you can pretty much only make these one at a time, right? You've only got however many episodes worth of like previously used robots before you're done. And the amount of power that you are getting out of that is probably not equivalent versus like for the same amount of money you make maybe like an entire unit of shocker grunts, which is like 5 grunts in a commando. Not to mention, I feel like it would probably be a lot more difficult to get like the kaijin mooks to do like grunt work.
Yeah, I guess that part's fair.
Right, that's the other thing is oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I mean, because while this is interference grunt work at the moment in a few scenes, Saracenia does have a second job that is a little more befitting of something above a grunt.
Yeah, that too.
But also it's Saracenian, so it's such a weird fucking choice.
I love it.
Which let's go ahead and get to that scene. So yes, I believe actually both Gabba Condor and Saracenia show up in that initial scene, right?
Yeah, because Gabba Condor goes, they tussle a little bit, and then Kamen Rider gets interrupted by Saracenian as he's about to strike at Gabba Condor, and Gabba Condor is seen in the back of the shot, hauling ass out of camera.
Yeah, he just flies out.
He's just running away. He's just like, ah!
It's very good. But yeah, so because they are stopped by Gabba Condor and Saracenia, Hongo and Taki unfortunately lose the trail of the kids, and so we cut back to the shocker brace, where we are, I believe we are talking, it's Commander Zol, and he is talking to Fasci Statue about the readiness of our shocker youth.
And then the best scene in the whole episode.
It's so good. So as this conversation is happening, we cut to our shocker youth as they are in class taught by Professor Saracenia, where they are learning about the armaments that Shocker has, what weaponry they use.
King Saracenian has such a gentle voice.
He does. He's like an actual teacher.
Yeah.
He's like so fatherly and gentle with these children.
It's very good. Maybe that's why they resurrected Saracenia specifically.
They are the future.
Listen, kids. The Shocker Type 190 automatic rifle allows for 24 bursts. Alright.
Okay.
You'll want to pay attention
And
to
it's
this. It's going to
effective
be on the
at a
test.
range of 1,500 meters.
Wow.
I just thought you should know.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
I'd like to think that Saracenian has like some genetic memory because the last time he dealt with kids, he wasn't so gentle.
I don't know. There's something about the idea of shock class to me that's very enjoyable.
So maybe he.
I won't do this to words.
So maybe he, he's toning it down a little, so he doesn't scare him. The following thing, right, is continuing their training exercises, right?
Yeah,
with the explosives.
When they're,
I kind of like this scene.
They're shooting the guns now.
I kind of like this scene. Because it gives me hope for something in the future. They're furthering the narrative of Namie and Goro's rivalry and like equal skill.
Yeah.
Because they're both at the target range and all the kids are shooting, and then they have.
Oh no.
Oh boy. Uh-oh, gamers.
There we go.
There we go. Jesus.
Okay.
Just
Cool.
the internet.
Just the internet. All right. Take it from the top.
Yeah. So we watched episode 26 and 27.
Oh,
no,
not that top.
no, not that top. Okay. So the Shocker kids are at the target range, and Goro and Namie are a step up. I forget who does it first. I think Namie.
It's Goro first.
No, Goro first. Goro hits bullseye. He's dead on. He's doing great. And then Namio goes up, boom, Robin Hood's it. Like, I like this establishment. And honestly, I kind of, over the course of this episode, I'm minorly invested in Goro's personal life now. And his relationship with his friend, like I kind of want them to be regulars, and I want to see this friendship and rivalry flourish because Goro's really cool, and I want to see him have a cool friend who is also cool. And I like Namie's glasses.
I like Namie's whole.
So she's a winner in my book.
They're good.
Her whole fit.
Love me some red
great.
frames.
Her whole aesthetic.
It's a great look.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's all I have to say on that scene. I want to see these kids have fun and adventure.
Yeah.
Then we have another scene where Fashy Statue is telling the kids about what to do and how to attack Kamen Rider to prove your skills, which seems like a high bar, but whatever.
So here's the thing about Shocker Youth. Shocker Youth, I think, is on par with the Shocker adults in terms of skill and training. Unfortunately, they are on par with the Shocker adults. So they are equally incompetent, unfortunately. They gave them all the best training they could have.
Mm-hmm.
It's not... Shop smart. Shop Kmart smart. But for villains.
And then we get a nice scene of Hayato and Taki kind of thinking about where they're going to make their next move. Let's see.
Back at
what
the
happens
apartment.
after this fence? Yeah, it's back at his apartment.
The same apartment from last episode with the horse statue. But this is where Taki is getting frustrated and goes into the line I mentioned earlier where he says he's all alone in life. He has no parents or siblings, and he trails off there, notably not mentioning whether he's not mentioning his marital status. And then he says he had begun to think of Goro as a sort of little brother.
Which I feel like to reinforce what we have established in regards to Kamen Rider and Taki, or Hayato and Taki's relationship, immediately after that, Hayato's like, I do too. So they are both heavily invested in Goro.
On the same wavelength.
Is the direct quote.
Yeah.
And they love this horse statue.
They
bought it together at the IKEA.
Oh my god, I forgot about this line, and it leaves so much implication. So Taki is like, he says all this, and Hayato is like, I feel the same way. And then Taki replies with, I see, I suppose you would, ... And he gets cut off.
What are we trying to say? What are we trying to say?
Look.
What we're trying to say.
Or on the other hand, what are we implying about Hayato's backstory? That Taki might know about?
Too many orphaned children.
I guess so. Maybe.
Orphans.
We don't really know anything about.
I wonder if they're going to follow up on that.
Huh?
Yeah. Get some emotional core going for Hayato, because we really abandoned the transhumanism angst immediately. Hayato got a second of it and then went, well, time to go.
That was pretty tied to Hongo, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
maybe they realized that it's not the best thing for a kid's show to have your protagonist go like, what am I? Am I still human, or am I just a monster?
Can't even cover this crying child.
My hands. Sorry, weird say it took the better of me.
Speaking of snot-nosed children,
all of us. I mean,
snot-nosed children were greatest here.
Yeah, they have broken in.
The Shocker Youth are busting through, and they're here to hit Taki and Hayato with the Garatata. Except they miss real bad.
A lot.
It's just, I understand, because there seems to be some form of live round that is coming, not like a live round like an actual bullet, but there's like a firework or something that is coming out of these guns.
Yeah.
So they have to aim up real high so they don't hit the dudes. But it also makes the scene look really, really silly in hindsight, because you're sitting there like, hey, aim down a little bit.
Just aim down. They took that target practice thing way too literal, and they're just like, yeah, we gotta hit the big center of the square board, so they aim for the table.
Well, they don't even.
They didn't send us human
aim
targets.
For, the top of the curtains.
Yeah, they really just annihilate this man's window for a bit.
Oh, I'd be so angry. You replace a window?
I denounce you as my brother, Goro. My curtains. My drapes.
A little glad it didn't start a fire, honestly.
Yeah, true. That's certainly a possibility.
They may have immediately started a fire after that, though.
That would be bad.
The Taki and Hayato don't really want to fight these children, so they're going to try to escape instead. And Taki locks the door behind them, to which the kids respond to by laying explosives on the door.
Mm-hmm. They're like, the door is locked, we'll just blow it up.
We'll just blow it up.
And so while Taki is keeping the kids in the apartment, Hayato goes to face after Centiperas, because he knows he can find him by using his cyborg ears, which have 10 times the hearing of a normal human's.
In case you forgot.
Yeah, in case you forgot.
And he susses out that the children... I don't know how he susses this out, but he susses out that Centiperas needs some constant control.
That's
so that
true,
he shouldn't be far away from the action, because he needs to transmit his beams to control the children or something. Which, I don't know. Sure, all right.
I mean, to be fair, we knew how waves worked. He
did say it was radio waves.
Back those, yeah.
Yeah, so...
he's like radio brainwaving them, but, radio waves can only go so far with a certain amount of signal strength, so...
It's not really good brainwashing if you gotta keep using it, but...
I guess that's fair. Well, to be
You get
fair,
what
it's
you pay
described
for.
initially as hypnosis.
Yeah, I know. But, like, yeah.
The point is,
Interchangeable
Centiperas is nearby,
terminology,
which means he's
frankly.
about to get his ass beat.
Yeah, no. he's about to catch the smoke.
Yeah. Whether he wants it or not, and he probably does not want the smoke. This is where we, more so than in the previous fight, we get into something that I wanted to touch on, because I was very confused about Centiperas' combat effectiveness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's very weird in this fight. And the thing that I noticed specifically that made me wonder if they either tried to do something new and cool and they couldn't quite get it for some reason, or someone got fired, is my impression of the situation. Because here's the thing. Every time Centiperas goes to fight, he kind of sticks his hands out and in front of him in this kind of like hook type motion, right? Instead of any of the more traditional kind of Shocker Kaijin stances. And his movements, like once he gets into the actual fight choreography, it's pretty standard stuff, but his movements getting to that point are really weird. And the thing I notice is he seems to stumble and stagger and sway a lot. So my thoughts are, who knows, maybe they tried to do like a cool drunken boxing thing with Centiperas. Or, if that's not the case, then maybe this dude was just sauced in the suit. And if that's the case, he probably got fired afterwards. I don't know what the truth is.
The episode.
Yeah. I don't know what the reality is, but it's so weird, because there are definitely some times where he very visibly like staggers trying to get into position.
Yeah, he's definitely noticeably less coordinated than your general Shocker cyborg.
It's super weird.
Yeah, maybe the usual stunt guy just like wasn't available, and they had to get like a junior stunt guy who wasn't so hot on the balance.
Maybe, yeah.
Or maybe he was sauced. Like, yeah, it's fascinating.
Or we could be
both.
Or we could be extra generous and give him the greatest benefit of the doubt and say he sustained an injury and or inner ear infection.
Could be that. I mean, there's really there are a lot of possibilities as to what the case may be.
Cut off his whiskers.
Yeah. I don't know. I would love to get some insight into this specifically, because it really sticks out compared to a lot of the other Shocker monsters, especially because then you've got Geva Condor and Sarracenia in this fight as well. You know, they end up showing up, and they've got all of that standard Shocker shit down pat. So it's like, what happened to this guy specifically?
I feel like I want to say it's more like trying to mimic the centipede's motions.
Oh, maybe.
The big lanky wobbly.
Yeah, how they kind of walk in that zigzag.
Like if you look at the moves, as you said, it's pretty standard fare when you get to fighting. And the coordination, like reaction times, seem quick enough.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't feel like this man was drunk in the suit.
He might have been given poor direction.
Yeah.
Regarding how to move.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's very interesting, and it would be very neat if it was them attempting to go for like a drunken boxing sort of thing, because in the future they definitely do end up playing with like other styles of martial arts and like how they can incorporate those both in their heroes and in their villains, both in Kamen Rider and in other series. There's there are actually two. But I'll just start with the earlier one. There's a season of Super Sentai Gosai Sentai Dairanger, which is entirely based off of like Chinese martial arts and kung fu, and so like each ranger has their own like martial arts style that they use, and you know they're all unique in their movements in that way, and it's very cool to see. And so it would be, you know, there is a lot of stuff that gets established in this original season that you probably wouldn't expect. it would be very wild if that was another one of those things, and it would certainly be cool. And I think personally, I think it'd be super ambitious to try something like that in a show like this back in like the 70s. But yeah, other than that, I can't. I feel like other than that and Geba Condor and Saracenia showing up, is there anything else like super significant that happens in this particular fight?
There's an interesting death scene.
Yeah, there sure is.
Yes.
Where he rolls down the hill and then the foreground catches fire.
Mm-hmm.
It's very good.
But he doesn't explode or like dig into the ground or anything. He kind of just fades away.
He just kind of bursts into flames and combusts.
Yep.
Yeah, and then they just cut.
I was gonna say I do appreciate that they cut to Commander Zoll and his like
Yes.
Centiperas unit like explodes and he's like, Centiperas is dead. Does this mean the Shocker Junior plan has fallen through? He seems so legitimately upset.
Fuck. I was banking on that.
Yeah, fuck. Spent so much money on those uniforms.
But yeah, I do remember writing down he killed that man so hard he blew up the command table.
Yeah.
Really gave it to him.
Your colonel's gonna feel this one.
So Kamen Rider saves the day. He successfully gets back into the apartment and stops the plastic explosive from blowing up the door. And all of the kids are happy now. They get to meet Kamen Rider. Yay!
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 The man in the van was right.
Yeah.
We never see that guy again.
No, we don't.
Just a random dude in a trench coat. Unless the implication is like that he was a Saracenian in disguise or something.
Yeah, probably. He was probably like a Shocker Mook or something.
Or Zol. Oh no, Zol's on the phone. Never mind.
Nope, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's probably like Geba Condor or Saracenian or some Mook.
Some guy.
And then we have Goro and I think Nami on the motorcycles with Taki and Hayato as like 4 or 5 other children
just go running after him.
Sprint. They are sprinting.
They are trying hard to get up this hill so they can hang out with Kamen Rider, but he's just riding off into the sunset.
They're just stranded in this street.
Waiting for the next van to pick them up.
Yeah.
No money, no phone. How are they getting home? I don't know.
No
one
knows.
And thus the episode ends.
Yeah, and that is episode 27.
And we're met with our to be continued of skinned gorilla.
Yes, the peeled gorilla.
Yes.
Yeah, peeled gorilla. I'm excited.
And people are very excited for this peeled ass gorilla.
Well, not only that, but I have on good authority that
Yes.
I've trusted sources that say episode 28 is really gay.
Yes. Yeah, supposedly the peeled gorilla episode is also going to have a lot of gay energy in it as well.
Hello?
So certainly we'll be looking forward to that.
I've heard to the point where it's almost stops being something that's implied. So
we go from subtext and we go from the subterranean text where the mole is into the text where the humans live.
Yeah.
And soon we're going to go into the super text, which is when Kamen Rider looks into the camera and says, "I'm gay," every 5 minutes.
And you should be too.
So yes, next time we are going to be talking about episodes 28 and 29, Underground Monster Molong and Electric Monster Jelly Doll.
Oh.
What?
Yep. Y'all ready for the jelly?
I don't think I'm ready for this jelly.
Yeah, nobody ready for this jelly.
Excited.
I'm excited, but I'm not ready.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I thought I was going to be ready for Molong until I saw the peeled gorilla.
So smooth.
Smooth out. Bro, this man's smooth as shit.
We haven't even gotten to the episode. We cannot stop talking about this guy. It's incredible.
Like, this is Fats. I know. Like, just in voice calls, we were talking about like Deco Noir.
Mm-hmm.
This looks like a flesh version of Deco Noir if it was a gorilla.
Absolutely. Oh my god.
I am delighted to see it.
Yeah, very, very excited for Underground Monster Molong. Thank you very much for joining us for the podcast as always. Again, just quick shout out to Wordsy and my brothers Joel and Nick again for help with the mood. Extra shout out to Wordsy for editing. We hope that you enjoyed the episode. We hope that you will continue to enjoy and support us. And I guess, as always, remember that if you can't believe in God and you can't believe in Buddha, you can always believe in Kamen Rider.